Picture this. You're halfway through a DIY car fix, tools scattered everywhere, and boom, you realize you're missing a part. It's okay because you know whatever it is, it's on eBay. They've got everything. Brakes, headlights, cold air intakes, whatever you need. And it's guaranteed to fit, which means no more crossing your fingers and hoping you ordered the right thing. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
Episode 184 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our supporters. So I want to welcome Jay Blaz, Wild Rhyhorn, Monodam, and Vesperiant to the Patreon crew this month, or this week. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, you can go to patreon.com/thewilderness-podcast. This episode is dedicated to the leadest of raiders, Karma 501. And of course, this episode is dedicated to every one of our top tier supporters: Gentinu, Spleemo, Dreadful Monkeys, Szechuan, Mallard, Twisted Soul, Hoyt, Monodam, Jay Blaz, and super duper shout out to Strosty. Those are probably drying up. But hey, if Patreon is not your thing, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/dills to make a one-time donation instead. So thank you to Caradoc, 2JZ Soup, 2JZ Soup, The Six, and Forced Murder for keeping me caffeinated. Appreciate you guys so much. All right, on to the show. Welcome to episode 184 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dilz, and join with me today is Heartless. How's it going?
Hey, Dilz, doing well. I feel like it's been a while since we've been together on one of these pods.
Yeah, for a number of reasons. Kind of like it's been like almost 2 weeks, I feel like, since even the last episode came out. And you weren't on the last episode, so that adds in a little bit more of a gap. But yeah. I had some computer issues, and oh boy, the rant will come in a little bit. Because I feel like everyone I've talked to, I've been on like a tirade against how terrible Canada Computers is.
I haven't heard the story, so you get to lay it on thick for me.
I fucking hate that store. Oh, Jesus. Anywho, it's been a crazy week for a number of reasons. I guess update-wise, we've had Dead Man came out a few days ago, and they call it Dead Man Reborn. So they're taking what Dead Man used to be, and they're basically, I think they like collided it with Leagues in a way to make it much different than the way they've done Dead Man before, and it's also much it's only like a month long, but yeah, it's a cool way they've done it. I've had some fun with it. Yeah, it's one of those things, you hate it, you love it. So they released the Dead Man mode, so we'll be going over kind of what is to expect there. But of course, my favorite part about Dead Man mode is there's always some sort of issues that either trickles in. There's issues whether it's with the tournament or there's some bugs that come into the main game, and oh boy, did we get a bug on the first day of release. That's fun. And then, God, this isn't even something I feel like we should tease in the beginning here, but tackling in with the news, there is, I guess, more of the not fun to talk about news. One of the J mods, I don't even know how you say this. He's done some fucked up shit, and God, it feels like something you don't even tease in the beginning.
No, it's not really. Doesn't really deserve a teaser. But yeah, there's some sad news coming out of sort of Jagex HQ surrounding one of the former employees. So not good stuff, but it's worth having a quick talk about.
Yeah, definitely. We cover everything RuneScape related, mostly old school. Sometimes we talk about normal RuneScape, and that sometimes means talking about community stuff or talking about JMod stuff. Which, anyways, we'll get into that when the time comes for it. But of course, on the opposite side of the spectrum, this has been a very positively eventful week in the podcast community, in the Wild Clan. Because Heartless, you guys put on a bingo, the summer 2021 bingo event.
That's right.
So that kind of kicked off last week, and it just wrapped up yesterday.
Yep.
But it seems like everyone quite enjoyed it. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, I guess we'll kick right in. I mean, what did you get up to this week?
Well, I went hard on bingo. So I was part of Team 5, the Bingo Dingoes. Chick came up with that. It's a legendary name.
Bingo Dingoes.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. The board was definitely harder this time. Spoiler, no team ended up completing the board. Though a few teams did get close, but that kind of kept us grinding until the end of the week, you know? Yeah. It was an awful lot of fun, especially the first weekend of bingo is always good. I swear to God, our team was in voice chat for over 48 hours nonstop the first weekend because we had the Australians on our team. So, you know, sort of the time zones worked out where there was literally always someone online, or some people stayed up to degenerate hours.
Nice.
Where the sun was coming up, maybe. But that's okay. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had an incredibly successful bingo, our team. We got so lucky, Dills. Like, out of control lucky. I'm pretty sure only 1 or 2 things we went over drop rate on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, first night, everyone was sort of just doing their own thing. I was doing some clue scrolls. Everyone was sort of chipping away at individual stuff, you know, maybe DKs or whatever. And then a few hours in, they decided, okay, you know what? It's time. Let's go for Chambers of Zarek. First raid, Zranzax gets Kodai, mega rare. First raid.
Damn. So said, wow.
Said, okay.
Like 75 mil, right?
75 mil, yeah. Bingo's off to a good start. Then decided to go do some corp as a unit. So I was doing solo corp, and then the rest, there's probably 10 plus people doing corp for about 3 hours. And we ended up getting a spectral sigil.
Ooh, that's gotta be like another
50 mil or something. Yeah.
50 mil. Wow.
So the night opened up pretty strong. And then there was just a bunch of other tiles chipped off. Like, I think I got the Calphite Queen head, a couple other things. But yeah, overall,
that's amazing.
It was a blast. Later in the week, we ended up getting a second Kodai wand from raids, a Dragon Hunter crossbow. Second. Yeah, so the way it worked out is we got so lucky on the weekend that we finished most of the boards, like, reasonable stuff, and then there was really only like Tome of Water, Dagon High Piece, and raids left to do during the week. So I tried to do as much top as I could. I didn't get anything. And then did a bunch of raids, and people I think Juan sent like over 100 Wilderness Slayer tasks to try and get a Dagon High Piece. The man collected like 3,000 Slayer points, and we didn't get it. That tile was hard, but it was fun because like our entire team ended up getting thousands and thousands of Slayer points each.
Yeah, it makes you almost like try content that like you don't normally like. One of the cool things that I saw with like the board and stuff, it's like you have a lot of like God Wars stuff, like maybe not a lot of God Wars, but there's God Wars tiles to complete.
Yeah.
And most people, a lot of people start raiding. Once you get to a high level, you just start raiding nonstop.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like you have to go out of your way to do God Wars. And sometimes the lower levels aren't ready for raiding, but they're ready for God Wars, but maybe nobody's doing God Wars, so they just forget about it. But, this is like the opportunity to go and
there's just grind so much content you maybe never would have done before. Like, for example, for me, I never would have done Temperos before. Just because it's like, I don't really need it. I already have high fishing, and I could just get my food elsewhere. But I was like, you know what? We need to get a tome for the team. So I learned solo Temperos, which gives you between like 12 and 16 points per run for 10 minutes. And I got that down pretty consistently. And it was fun. I had a great time. And then I ended up getting the tome on like 450 permits. So... as well as
450?
Yeah, which is about a quarter of the drop rate.
Oh, okay, that's still good.
Sadly, it has no use for me. But it looks cool. And then I got the Spirit Angler outfit as well, which is really nice.
Oh, that's sick.
And then I think the absolute best pull is the fish barrel. That thing is so good, Dills. Do you have one?
The fish barrel?
Yeah.
No, I don't have one. That's what is it?
It basically allows you to store 28 fish. You can just click on it and it takes your inventory and dumps it into the fish barrel, and then you can empty it when you get to a bank. It's kind of like a coal bag.
Yeah, okay.
So what you do is you can like fish like 50 carom ones or over that in one sitting at the place. So you get like every time you go to the carom one spot, you get like 50 carom ones, go back to the bank. So it basically doubles your trip length.
That's sweet.
I would highly suggest basically any Iron Man that is going to be doing fishing. I would just highly suggest going to Temperos and getting it early because it's a really good item. and Carabon's our life while you're an Iron Man.
True. Yeah. I mean, that for an Iron Man, that seems like a clutch item. I mean, a main account, you get 99 fish and you're done. You're not doing much more fishing.
That's true. If you're doing like angler fish or something, though, it's quite nice to just not have to go to the bank. You can just stuff up. So you probably last like half an hour without banking an angler fish.
Yeah, totally.
They're not very fast. So yeah, it was a fun week. Definitely got a few crazy tiles as well. I remember my team had done like several hundred Zulrah, and I geared up. And you all know that I, went 2.3k dry for my first 10 Snipe Fang, and then one KC back, I get another 10 Snipe Fang.
Hey, that's usually how it goes.
So it was pretty funny. Yeah, we had a generally good week. And I was talking to some of the other teams during the week. We try not to share our boards, but everyone seemed to be having fun. So that's the goal. Everyone has fun, does some new content, meets some new friends, and
totally.
Highly suggest that if you didn't join this time, you join next time, which will be probably around Christmas, just after.
Yeah, I love that it's a few times a year, and I like to monitor it because like every team is kind of not secluded, is that the word? They're closed off from the other teams. Isolated, that's the word. They're like isolated from it just so that nobody can see kind of what's going on. And I like the idea of at least me being able to monitor or someone monitoring it just to make sure there's not some like, I don't know, some civil war going on in the back or just whatever it is, right? Make sure everything's going fine. And, maybe some team, if a bunch of people don't show up, at least I could like, hey, maybe I'll help out or somebody, maybe we can stick someone on there. Yeah. So I like to monitor it and stuff, but on the Friday where it kind of started, I was like it started and everyone jumped into their team voice chats, and then I was in like the lounge channel on Discord talking to a few people who weren't quite competing. Yeah. And I was like watching everyone do it, and I was like, I should have signed up. Yeah, that looks like so much fun.
Dilz, it's probably the most fun I've ever had playing RuneScape is the opening weekend of Bingo. It's just like you're just surrounded by people, some of them, you don't know others, you just get to hang out and have just an absolute blast. So yeah, it is one of my highlights of my RuneScape playing was this past weekend. So if anyone is looking for that kind of experience to like add some social flair to a game that can be quite isolating, I highly suggest signing up next time.
Yeah, and like I think we talked about it before, but it's like the beauty of the game is doing these like weird little social events, and RuneScapers love their bingo for whatever reason.
It's just good to be. You get excited. It's like playing Baby Iron Man mode for a week. So like I get to get excited about my drops. Of course, they're spread out over like several years. But I get stoked when I get a drop because it's new for me and I don't have to go and get it again. But for mains, it's like, oh yeah, I got a Hydra's Claw. That's 50 mil. But when you're doing bingo and you're desperate for a Sears ring and it's the last item you need and you get it and you're like, yeah, you're just so stoked that you get the Sears ring and the tile complete for the team. Whereas normally you'd be like, oh, seriously, 300k?
Yeah.
And also the pet drops that come out of bingo. Whew, we started off slow this time, but by the end, I think there were 6 or 7 pets across the tournament. 4 of which were on my team. 1 were on my team.
Yeah, you mentioned Zoranzac, how she got super lucky at Chambers of Zarek right away, and I think I noticed she got like the first 2 pets were in her name or something like that.
Yeah, they were. Her account is blessed. Truly.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of a, last bingo, somebody got a pet like the first couple hours that the bingo event started.
Yeah.
And then this one, I think eventually 2 came in and I was like, oh, here the pets start rolling in. I think there was like 4, maybe 5 by the end of it. Yep. So I guess this is a little bit of a PSA too that, if you're like playing the game, maybe not in a clan, the game tends to be much more fun when you're playing with others as well. And, if the clan you find does like a little events like bingo, it makes the game just much more enjoyable because eventually, we all play it long enough, we'll probably all get to max, and then what, right? I guess we're done. So may as well. It's you want to have all these fun little side games that just kind of heighten the experience.
Yeah, it just gives you a break from whatever you're grinding currently. It just lets you take a break, just hang out with your friends, and just do something different, and maybe experience something new.
And if you're a main account, like you get stuck in this quote unquote money grind, we talk about it all the time. At least I feel like I do. The money grind is boring and you get burnt out really, really easily. But it's nice to like do like a bingo event where you're grinding for these other items. And then at the end of it, you can look back and say, hey, I made 20 mil maybe in your name, or maybe more, maybe less. If you're unlucky, maybe you lost money. That sucks, but that's the way she goes, I guess. It's the experience, right? The both personal experience and in-game experience. So yeah, that sounds pretty sweet. Looking forward to the next one for sure. You get up to anything else during the week or week and a half, 2 weeks maybe?
I guess the week before I decided that, I've got the gear now, I should probably start trying for Inferno. But that's a pretty big mental grind, and if you know me, Dilz, when I commit to something, I like to go until I finish it. So, Zulrah, I did 2,300 without stopping. Corrupted Gauntlet, I did like 400 without stopping. This is the 10 to... I did like 600, 700 Sarah and Bandos without stopping. That's just the kind of player I am. I don't know. I just prefer it that way. So I know when I start the Inferno, I'm not really going to come out.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I started to get the mechanics down. I made it to like the mid 50s on the waves. I only did like 4 tries. And then I jumped in the tournament worlds and used a twisted bow, which was a nice weapon. I've never used it before, so that was fun. And I used that to get the triple jads down, because you have an Inferno cape, so you're allowed to do that on tournament worlds.
Gotcha.
So that was pretty good. It took me quite a while to get the hang of it, but I think I have a feel for it now. So it's just kind of a matter of putting it all together and finding the time to, grind. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's a bit of a commitment. What do they call it? The lava maze or whatever.
The lava prison.
Not lava maze. It's an actual thing. I think the worst thing you can do, and I've done this with a few bosses, is like you start it, you make some progress, you get bored, you stop, and then when you come back, it's like, you forgot what you learned.
You lose the progress. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to commit to it. So I think my next week, I'm not gonna play as much this week because I'll be getting back to teaching soon.
Yeah, true.
But I am going to maybe start to prep my supplies because I'm a little bit low on, pots and stuff from bingo.
Yeah, right.
So I might do that, and then, sort of just get ready and see if I can, because there's really no items I need besides, a twisted bow to go and do it.
You even have the Elysian, right? That's like
I have the Elysian Spirit Shield, which is definitely not necessary, but it's a nice upgrade. You don't say no to it. And there's a bunch of people in the clan that have done Infernos, so there'll be plenty of people to mentor me through it.
Yeah, I love how there's coaches. I remember I was watching someone on Twitch do it, and they had a coach on Discord or whatever walking them through it.
I think you need it because there's a bunch of like specific timers at Zuck, and you don't want to. You need to like do damage at specific timings, to be able to. You don't want to spawn minions and then take too much damage or screw up the fight. So it requires, and you're nervous as friggin' hell on your first try. So, anyways, you guys will get to live through it, live vicarious through me as I try to complete it through all the frustrations. But yeah, I hope to get it in a couple months. We'll see how it goes though.
Get it by the new raid, by raids 3.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully I can get it by then.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So yeah, here we go. Off to the prison. What about you, Dills? What have you been up to since everyone was sort of bingoing this week?
I guess we can roll it back because I said I have to do my rant about Canada computers because I feel like everyone I've talked to, I've been bitching about the store. It's like it's the big computer hardware store in Canada. Do you have it where you are?
Canada Computers?
Yeah.
I don't recognize the name. There's a bunch of online stores I know, like Newegg and stuff, but
yeah, that's probably what you should be using. Because Canada Computers fucking sucks. It's the pardon my language. They really rile me up. Oh my goodness.
All right, tell me why.
Well, I wanted to do some computer upgrades because my computer's just like I haven't touched it for a while, and I just need a better computer. It gets bogged down when I'm doing work and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, it's about time. I have an i5, which apparently. An i5, i7, i9, that doesn't even matter. That's what I've been basing all my, like, whether it's good or not, and whether it's... Okay, so an i7 is better than an i5, and an i9 is better than an i7. Well, according to the people at Canada Computers, that's not the case. So, I went and I got a new CPU, I got a new motherboard, and then I got a new power supply. I was going to swap it all out. So I went to Canada Computers, got all that stuff. And then this is why the release schedule, our recording's been all over the place, because last weekend I took my whole computer apart, put everything in. I'm pretty new at this stuff, but it didn't work when I first plugged it all in. It wouldn't even boot up. So I was kind of like freaking out, like, oh shit, did I do something wrong? So I spent like the next like 12 hours throughout the weekend, like trying different things, watching videos, trying this and that, and swapping this out or whatever it was. And then I eventually just gave up, and I heard that it might be the actual, it could either be the power supply could be dead on arrival, or the motherboard, which is apparently kind of common. I didn't even realize that. That seems crazy to me. You can just buy something and it's normal for it to not work right out of the box.
Well, motherboards have a lot of like little moving parts, so it seems like the thing that would break the most if shipping was done poorly.
Yeah, which you talk to people and they're like, yeah, that is pretty common. And I'm like, that makes sense, but also seems crazy for someone who isn't really like well versed in computers. That like, how do you even know if it doesn't work? I'm still just assuming that it was my motherboard, because after I put all my old parts in, but I kept the new power supply, it all booted up properly, which is what I'm using right now. Anywho, it was a huge pain, but the real rain has to come in today when I went back to return my motherboard and I brought it in. The people there are just fucking the worst. And normally when I'm at a store like that, and if I'm getting terrible service, I'm usually like, you know what? These people are probably paid minimum wage. It's just a job to them, not a career. You can't hold it against them. But I would think that with any other store, but not Canada Computers. If the people at McDonald's mess up my order, whatever, I understand. I used to work at places like that. Canada Computers, no, they did it on purpose. They did it out of spite because they hate you. They want you to fail. That's why.
Okay, so for everyone who doesn't know Dilz is like the kindest, sweetest man you'll ever meet. He gives everyone literally everyone the benefit of the doubt. So if Dilz says someone sucks, they fucking suck.
Oh my god!
So I 100%. These people must be awful for you to say this about them.
I was so mad. I went there knowing that they're like not. They just go in there. They're very gatekeepy. If you don't know what you want, they will like. So I literally got laughed at when I went in today. So I brought my motherboard in, and they open it up, and they're just like, "Where's the SATA?" There's two guys there, and I was like, "Sorry, what's a SATA?" And the one dude looks at the other, and they just like laugh, like they laugh at each other, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And they're like, "It's the SATA cable," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not too sure, honestly. I just kind of packed up the motherboard and brought it over. I didn't even think to bring all the other parts." So yeah, I got laughed at within 30 seconds, and I was like, "Are these guys for real right now? They're laughing at me right to my face."
That sucks.
I was like, "Okay." Anyways, and then the guy starts like looking. It's like, "Oh, I gotta ask, why did you buy the i9?" And I was like, "I don't know." I had a buddy actually help me pick it all out, and then the i9 seems pretty good. And he was like, "Yeah, it's like at the end of its life. Like it's not really." I don't want to say it's obsolete, but it's basically obsolete. I'm like, man, that sounds so crazy to say. I just spent like $500 on this thing. Like, dude, don't tell me that I'm buying something that's like not even worth it anymore. Anywho, I spent like 45 minutes today. All I wanted to do was return my motherboard, and now he's like setting me up with a new motherboard, and he's like, bring back your CPU because you need to exchange that for the i7. Oh my god! And so then I was like, you know what, dude? Let me sit on it. Just let me replace this motherboard, but let me think about it. And then if I want to swap all my parts out and get new parts, I'll do that. But I've already spent 12 hours tinkering with all this stuff. I just want to switch out my motherboard.
So you still in the position? Okay, there's more to the story.
Well, I'm
listening.
This is just my rant. And then I got in the car, I started driving, and I was like, oh, this box looks a little beat up. This looks like my old box. And I opened it up, and they never even gave me the new motherboard. I was so mad. I came back, and I was like,
bastards.
Dude, I want to replace this motherboard. And he was like, I thought you wanted to think about it. I was like, I do want to think about it, but I just want this new motherboard. I just don't want to sit here talking any longer about why all the parts I picked suck. Oh, my God. So we're basically at square one. I got my motherboard here. I still got to fix all this stuff. Hopefully my computer's going to work. And hopefully we can get back to recording weekly again.
Hopefully. Well, Jesus.
Oh my God.
I know there's quite a few people that are more well versed in computers than us and that listen, so maybe they could reach out and give you a little hand.
Yeah.
It sucks when people are gatekeeping. I went through a problem with my computer recently too. I built it like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe 3 years ago now with a friend, and he knew a lot more than me. He was just kind of walking me through the steps. But I mean, it didn't seem too complicated. But I agree. Like at the computer store, when you go down there, people can be a little gatekeepy for sure. But I found, luckily, at my local store, it was just wasn't a chain. They were quite nice to me. I told them, I was like, guys, I don't know the most about computers. I know the basics. So he's like, no problem. We'll walk you through everything. And they sort of did that. Which was nice, and I like that's what customer service should be. If you don't know, it's not like you go to the mechanic and they make fun of you for not knowing how a car works. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like I don't know, a child comes up to me and asks me how to do this multiplication question. I just laugh at them and walk away. It seems pretty in poor taste to do that if that's your profession.
It's just it was like, I was like so blatant. I was like, I had to tell the missus here, and I was like, because I always complain about Canada. Every time I go in there, I have something to complain about. And I was like, I came back today and I was like, this place is a parody of itself. They are like, they're the worst. I had someone tell me my computer tower, I went in there just because I thought I needed the little filler bolts, because with your motherboard, they're all different sizes. And apparently there's these things called filler bolts to make it so it's all flush with your tower.
Yeah.
So anyways, I looked online. It said these filler bolts will make sure your motherboard is flush. I didn't realize that they're kind of stuck in the tower already. So I went to the store to buy it, and the guy ended up trying to sell me a new tower, saying that mine was outdated because it was like 8 years old. And I was like, it's just a hunk of metal, man. What do you mean it's outdated? What do you mean? He's like, it's not it's just not optimized. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Yeah, it sucks when you find people like that in their professions. But honestly, I don't know. I haven't had that many experiences too many places, but just making computer nerds look bad everywhere. Hey,
I know. I think part of it is that if you're building your first computer, it's already like kind of overwhelming because nothing is quite clear. It's like my motherboard's called the Prime B365M, but I could have got the Prime B390. I don't know what those numbers are referring to, or like even I got like the Intel i9 9900K. I have no idea what those numbers are referring to, and I assume that the bigger the number, the better it is.
That's not always the case. The bigger the numbers, sometimes it means the newer the parts.
Yeah, and exactly. And sometimes
there could be like multiple generations, right? And an older generation that was higher quality could still be better than a newer generation that's lower quality. Not always the case, but or vice versa, right?
So it's really daunting. And if I can relate this to RuneScape, it's kind of like what they're doing with the they want to rebalance a bunch of the new weapons, like the tier system, because you should be able to look at it and say, oh, it has 75 attack. It's got to be better than a 60 attack weapon. And it gets very confusing if it's not the case. I mean, we know just because
it's just like
deal with it.
It's like if you're trying to learn like Theater of Blood or Chambers of Xeric, and you go up to the mentor and you're like, hey man, I want to learn. And they're like, okay. And then you don't know what a tick is, and they just start laughing at you. It's like, it's like, what? They obviously don't know. Why would you laugh at them? You got to teach them for them to understand.
Yeah. Or if someone's like, did you bring your brews? And they're like, I'm sorry, what's a brew?
Yeah, I've never used those before. Some people may have never used brews before. If they just do Slayer, like why flame someone? Take the opportunity to show them how it works. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But that sucks about your computer. I went through a similar thing. I didn't get made fun of, but when I went to build my sorry, Dilz. When I went to build my keyboard, when I was looking for a new keyboard, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to look at? And I quickly realized, like, if you want to be real sweaty, you just make your own keyboard. And that was I went down this insane rabbit hole, probably pretty similar to what you would do when you want to build your own computer. You just don't know anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there was lots of resources, like YouTube resources. So I just spent hours and hours while I was playing RuneScape, just watching videos until I finally kind of understood the basics. And then most people were like, you're never going to like get the perfect keyboard the first time. So just get a basic kit and just try it. And that's what I did. And it was an absolute blast.
You had fun doing it?
It was so much fun, man.
Is it something you do because it's a fun hobby? You like customizing it? Or like, is it something where like, if you know how to do it, you'll kind of like building a computer, you'll save money?
Oh no! Oh god, you won't save money.
No, okay. So it's a passion, hobby of passion or whatever.
Oh, it's expensive as hell. I was like, I was gonna be in and out, just gonna get the basics, but that's not necessarily what happened. No, it's really expensive, but it just seemed like a fun project, and I'd never really done too much tinkering with small electronics. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do anything keyboard, and I was just like watching videos of people who've made custom keyboards and they just sound just amazing and look so nice. I was like, you know what? I got to try this. And
that would be kind of cool.
No regrets. I know there are a few people that have built them in that listen as well that are in the CC. So
nice. What a interesting hobby that exists.
There's all sorts of things like that too, Like people get really intense. Like most people will just have a regular mechanical keyboard and they're like, yeah, this is great. And that's fine. But there are people that are like, no, they want to take it to the next level, It's only good if it's custom. Similar to people that are like, really into coffee or really into really into cars. I always think these are similar. Like, yeah, I have a nice car. It doesn't need to be custom. But some people are like, no, it has to be. Everything has to be customized.
It's like kind of cool to get into them. Like I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then one of my you have all these books, and they're like $60 for like a book, and there's like 100 of them, but they're all like different campaigns, or they're books full of monsters, or they're just books full of rules or alternate rules, whatever it is. There's a bunch of them, and I had one, and it started breaking. The binding started to fall apart, and I started to like look into how fixing it, and then I stumbled across there's this whole hobby where people will take a book and they make a customized, they rebind all the pages into their own. It's like building your own keyboard, but you're building your own book cover.
Yeah, that's really like, sweet.
Yeah, I was looking into it, and I was like, this is like great. And it takes like, it's like this weird hobby. And another hobby I started getting into was like cartography, where, making your own fantasy maps. Cause I always thought that would be kind of fun to do. And I've always wanted to be someone who could sketch. But then also whenever I sketch something, it looks like shit, and it's like very demotivating to continue practicing. But at least with a map, if it looks like crap, you can kind of be like, well, it's supposed to look that way. It's not supposed to be. It's kind of hard to screw up a map because it's not supposed to be the straightest and whatever it is. But then I'm looking at all these different pencil sizes and the thickness of the
art
of
world.
There's all this stuff. Anyways. A little bit of a tangent there, but
do you want to know a fun fact? This is something I learned when I was in teaching school. We had an art class,
cool.
And I'm not much of an artist. I can do some sketches, but my teacher was telling me, she said, okay, so most human adults in Canada, anyways, I don't know if this applies to the States, have the artistic abilities of a grade 3. Like you've never actually advanced beyond that point. Because if you think about it, like art is always optional in school. It's never really something that's focused on. There's not a lot of time dedicated to it. You get dedicated to other things, and that's fair enough. So most people just don't have much training in art. Unless you're an actual artist and pursue it on your own time, it's just never something that you would really get into.
Yeah, I could see it. Even like when I started sketching with like a pencil, with 5 minutes, my hand's cramping up. And I'm like, oh man, I don't draw anything anymore. Everything's on the computer.
Did you take art in high school?
No, I took music, and I was literally the worst in my class. Oh, that was fun.
That's pretty funny. I didn't take it either.
No, yeah, I kind of wish I did. I took the trumpet because
me too.
I don't know why. I'd never played the trumpet before, but I was kind of into music.
Picked the trumpet, hey?
Yeah, like I played the drums, and I was like, oh, I'll take music because music's cool. And then it was the trumpet, and I was really, really bad at the trumpet, and I hated playing the trumpet. I guess I kind of thought I would be able to play the drums or something. And the way the class would work is like when we did tests, it was always in front of everyone. You had to play some piece in front of everybody, and someone would get chosen. They'd play their piece, and then they could always choose who plays next. Jesus. I always had to play second. I always got chosen next.
Why?
Because I was so bad. They were like, they would literally choose me second every single test, and then I would suck. And I think it would just make everyone feel better.
Everyone looked better too. Poor Dilz, hey?
Not even joking. I would play second every time. It was so frustrating.
That's actually brutal.
But yeah. Anywho, anyways, RuneScape stuff. Let's get into RuneScape because this has been a bit of a week for me as well.
All right.
Well, let's get straight into it. Well, I got 98 rune crafting, so that's pretty sweet. I'm getting sort of close to 99. I'm like 30% into this level, which is a lot, but also not a lot because it's going to take forever to get there. But we'll get there. But anyways, the big one is I'm on a journey to become good at this game because I had this like epiphany that I have almost 7,000 hours game time in this game and I'm still not very good at it. And I was like thinking like, imagine playing guitar for 7,000 hours and you still couldn't play more than just like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Still smoke on the water.
Yeah, smoke on the water. Exactly. Wonderwall or something. You're just still trash. I was like, man, I need to get better at this game. There's so much more to do. We have raids 3 coming out. I probably could find people in the CC to take me, but also I think it'd be like, oh, he's so bad that we're not going to complete this. So I was like, I need to get good at this game, and I want to I keep saying it, I want to get my Inferno and all that stuff, but we're not really making much progress. So I decided to I came up with like 5 goals that I want to get. Like I call it the 5 pillars of getting good. I had a lot of time to think about this. Which was basically getting good at the Corrupted Gauntlet, getting good at the Nightmare with Fasani's Nightmare, getting good at Theater of Blood, so doing Theater of Blood and Theater of Blood hard mode, and then being able to do solo Chambers of Xeric properly without suiciding, and maybe solo challenge mode would be pretty sweet too, which leaves the last one being the Inferno. So
yep,
I wanted to get good at all those and see if I can get there before the new raid comes out. So it started off, I guess, pretty poorly. I've been doing Fasani's Nightmare since it's like a solo hard mode boss, and it was a lot of fun. It's really hard. It's really punishing. You screw up and you die.
Surely that's the second hardest of the list that you just mentioned.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
I haven't done it, but I would assume that what you said, Corrupted Gauntlet, Solo Chambers, Fasani's, and then Inferno.
Yeah, and then Theater of Blood.
And Theater of Blood. So I think Theater of Blood is the easiest. It's group Theater of Blood.
Yeah, okay.
Then Corrupted Gauntlet. Then Solo Chambers. And then probably Fasani's is second.
I could see that.
Some people think Corrupted Gauntlet's harder than Solo Chambers, but I don't think so. It just takes like half an hour to get through a Solo Chambers, even when you're, pretty decent. So the time commitment is more like what pushes it over for me.
Yeah, I think that the hard part about Chambers of Xeric solo, it's like I've been watching videos and it's not as simple as like go in and fight against the mechanics. There's all these like hidden mechanics that you just need somebody to tell you about. Like there's like a pattern where he does like, what is it? There's like 5 auto attacks and then it does a special and then you can turn the head. So you have to do all these things in like in order to avoid a lot of damage.
Yeah, you have to understand a little bit more about the game. Like Corrupted Gauntlet, you just have to be good with mechanics, but in order to do Solo Chambers, you have to have good mechanics. Then you have to understand how the timings of things work, because you can 4-1, but if you don't know how to set it up properly, then you're never going to be able to get into the cycle. So so there's definitely some things about Solo Chambers that make it a little bit harder.
Yeah, it feels a little bit tricky. And then with Corrupted Gauntlet is like there's that prep time beforehand. The nice thing about Fasani's Nightmare is you can kind of, besides the long walk to the Fasani's Nightmare, you can kind of just it is long, but you can hop right in once you're there. You don't have to do any prep.
That's true.
Nothing like that. So that's kind of cool. You don't have to group up with anyone. It's nice for that factor. But so I've been doing it. I got like 30 deaths into it, getting closer and getting better. But man, I made the stupid mistake and I lost like so much of my gear. So if you don't know, maybe let this be a warning to always be vigilant. But if you die, which I did, I died at Fasani's Nightmare. I died over 30 times. All your gear gets put into like a death box, a death container. You then go back, you pay a fee, you can retrieve all your gear out of that box. And like Ultimate Iron Man will be able to utilize it by they leave their gear in these death boxes so they can go do other things and they come back and retrieve it later. But if you don't know, if you go out and die again before retrieving your gear from that death container, what do they call it? Death retrieval box? Whatever. If you go die again without retrieving it, all that stuff gets wiped. It gets taken out of the game. And it is rough. So Unfortunately, I had that exact same thing happen to me. I died at Fasani's Nightmare. And then what I think is the walk was so long back that I didn't want to go do it. So I was like, I'm going to go do the Gauntlet. And I wasn't thinking. So I just went to the Gauntlet and I ran a few. And then I died. And then I saw in my chat box, Sister Senga, all your items with Sister Senga is now lost from dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, oh, my heart dropped. And I went back and I had to check my bank because I had no idea what I lost. And I lost my Tormented Bracelet, which is like 10 mil, my Face Guard, which is like 15 mil, Primordials, which is 20 mil. I lost my Trident, my Blowpipe, a bunch of runes. I lost my Rune Pouch, which luckily you can buy that back for like 2 mil. I lost over 60 mil in gear, which I was, that sucks. But oh my God, the biggest one that I lost was my friggin' fighter torso. That's the biggest one.
At least you'll never make that mistake again.
I hope not. Yeah, so that's where that ended. Yeah.
I always go back to my death pile and pick it up right away. Just too nervous.
Yeah, it's smart. Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Because if that happened to me, that would be like hundreds of hours gone.
Oh, it's way worse for an iron. Yeah, at least I could sell some stuff and I could go buy all my shit back. With an iron, oh my God! Could you imagine? Imagine you lost your like Ellie or something.
It's happened to Ultimates before, where they just they just forget. You know, they've been drinking, or I don't know. They're just not in the.
Yeah.
They just don't think, and they just go and do something, and they die, and they just absolutely wipe. So I've seen
because they have to do like suicide piles, right? So they
not really. So like they do have to do suicide piles, but what they do is like, let's say you work in the week and you're just going to cut redwoods all week. What you'll do is you'll go and suicide to Hespori, and then all of your items will be in Hespori, and then you just take out your Dragon Axe, because you can click which items you like out.
Yep.
And then you go and grab your wood cutting outfit from your house, and now you have a full inventory, so you can just cut redwood logs all week. And then when you're ready to go back to PVM, you just go and get all your stuff from... You go get a looting bag, then go pick up all your stuff from Hespori, go to the wilderness, dump it in the looting bag, and then go get the other half of your stuff, and now everything's on you. That's kind of the thing for Ultimate Iron Man. But yeah, if you forget and you've been cutting redwoods, and then, I don't know, you go and suicide or something by accident, or die to something like a DC, like it's over. Or I've seen them where they go into Hespori and accidentally activate it. That one's the worst. That's the worst. They have like, a bill of items in the Hespori death coffer, and then they like run into Hespori with nothing on and accidentally activate it. Hilarious.
Ooh.
Not hilarious, sad, but
Yeah.
It's the Ultimate Iron Man life. That's what's too stressful about it for me. Everything else seems cool, but not that part. Wiping.
It's a lot to keep track of, yeah. All it takes is you to be absent-minded and you lose your stuff.
Yep.
Oh boy. Anywho. So that's basically my week in a nutshell. I still gotta get my fighter torso. I went to go do Chambers of Zarek earlier, and I went to go do some DKs earlier, and I was like, I don't have my fighter torso.
Yeah,
it's really screwing up everything.
You're
I don't want
an obby plate warrior, were you?
I shouldn't wear anything, but I probably should get one now until I get. Anyway, what a pain it is to get that one. That's the problem. I don't want to spend like 20 mil to
just buy a Bendel's chest plate.
Yeah, I should.
Yes, that'll get you covered. You don't need a torso.
I do gotta get my level 5s and.
Yeah, do it while you're getting your level 5. Oh, you gotta get your level 5s as well. So that's even more Barbarian Assault. It's fun, if you do it with a large team. That's what I would suggest.
That's what I got to do, and I've been putting it off, so I should just go do it maybe even this weekend.
There's always people in the CC that are looking for a fighter torso or level 5s. So
yeah. When I made I posted, of course, posted in the Discord that I lost all my items, and had to share the picture of all the loss because. Damn, I saw it's happened to someone else before too, and they lost. Maybe they might have even lost more than I did, but
yeah, you made it onto Behemoth as well.
Yeah, I was streaming too. I had to capitalize, send it over to Mr. Behemoth there on YouTube.
So, do you send clips to him? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you just send it to him on Twitter.
Yeah,
and you send him the clips, and then he messages I send him my own clips, so then he messages me on Twitch to be like, "Hey, so and so told me to use these clips."
Yeah. Okay. Right on.
Yeah,
nice guy.
Interesting. There was a controversy of other highlight channels. I guess they just took it without any permission.
That's his thing. Is like he asks everyone for it, and there are some streamers that don't want, like Bodhi, for example, wants to use his own clips in his own videos, and then he doesn't mind if Behemoth uses them. And then like Odablock doesn't like his clips being used, for example.
Fair enough.
So yeah,
makes sense. All right, fun stuff. Anyways, let's we got some things to talk about as well. So let's hop into the news here, and let's hop into the news. All right. So the big ticket item this week is Deadman Mode Reborn. You love it, you hate it. Maybe you fall in between. Harley, you're not huge into Deadman, are you?
No, it's not my thing. I do watch all of the YouTubers that make the videos. I find them pretty cool, but it seems it's a little bit gated for me, so I'm not into it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it does definitely seem like a much more of a spectator sport, even though the tournaments in the past aren't always the most spectator friendly, but they're changing things up this year. So Deadman Mode, you might not even know what Deadman Mode is. Man, I remember when they first pitched Deadman Mode, it was like such a revolutionary idea when they pitched it, but it was basically accelerated experience rates, and you could kill anyone anywhere you want. So it's like a PvP world, but instead of being restricted to certain combat levels, a level 126 could technically kill a level 3, and when you killed someone, you got a key that allowed you to take a bunch of their items from their bank as well as the items they had on themselves. So it was pitched 2015? Damn.
Yeah,
2015 it looks like. Yeah, that's crazy to think. And it's gone through a whole whack of iterations. And it went away for a little bit, and now it's coming back, what they're calling Deadman Reborn, where they changed a whole bunch of stuff. But they have, and I always forget these exists, but they have permanent Deadman Mode worlds in the game right now. There's like 2 or 3 of them, and you can go there, and it's got like 50 people. There's a community of people who play Deadman Mode there, and you don't have to worry about your progress being wiped unless you die. But what people are more into is the Deadman Mode Seasonal, which is what Deadman Mode Reborn is. It shows up, you have a couple weeks to level up your accounts. If you are in the top 2,000 for total level, you are then brought into the invitationals, where your account is completely reset, back to level 3, no items. And then you have 1 week to kind of get your account to a good spot. And then after that week, your account will then be put into a tournament where you will fight against others, and the last one standing gets a bunch of money. So normally there was issues before where like the way they used to do the final hour, which was kind of cool but also kind of lame at the same time, was everyone was brought into the world, and the last one standing, you basically won the cash. There's a lot of problems with that. It wasn't very fun to watch either, because as the fog closed in and brought everyone together, it just became like people throwing barrages and throwing chins in one giant group of people, and it wasn't very much fun to watch. And the whole idea, so
they used to, and not just the person who lasts the longest. It's like once you got down to a certain number of people, it become 1v1s.
Yeah, so eventually they brought the 1v1s in because they realized it just wasn't as much fun watching it. It's supposed to be a PvP tournament, and when they just didn't have the 1v1s, it was just who could outlive
Was
the
the
others.
original like that? It was just no 1v1s?
Yeah, the whole joke of Wooks won because he was off somewhere else in the map, tick eating food, while the fog closed in and was killing everyone else out. And then there was like only 2 people left, Wooks and someone else. Mm-hmm. But the person was at the final area, but couldn't find Wooks, and they just died and lost food. Wooks had a bunch of noted food, and he was at Miles in Remington, unnoting his food and just eating it nonstop.
Yeah,
so that's
Wooks.
Yeah, and then that plus some other issues, they realized we need to bring this into a 1v1 tournament, because I think the big problem is, and if you don't know, a lot of people it seems like some people almost resent Deadman Mode for taking dev time and also taking money and resources. You know, they see
yeah, it's because they hate PvP.
Yeah, they hate PvP, and they see like, okay, you guys are giving $32,000 away to the winner. Why not use that money to hire, I don't know, buy more servers. That's what I've seen people say before. Or use that money to hire somebody. You know, that could be somebody's yearly salary, and have them work on the team to get more content out. But the big thing is that DMM mode, that money is used for marketing the game. And that's kind of what DMM mode is it's supposed to be like the esports for old school RuneScape. And the reason they brought the 1v1s in was because when it's just a clusterfuck of damage being thrown at a bunch of people, it's not fun to watch. And if you don't play RuneScape, you're going to watch this and you're going to be like, I have no idea. This is confusing and it doesn't even look fun. At least with 1v1s, it allows it to be a lot more digestible for somebody who doesn't play the game. They can show up and watch it. You know, I've never played Street Fighter, but I could probably watch a Street Fighter tournament and I can have some sort of idea what's going on. So that's what they're kind of hoping for. And kind of as you mentioned, this time around, it's straight 1v1s. There's going to be no final hour of people roaming the world, which
you could just get the final hour's like cool in concept, but in practice it sucks because let's just say that you have a small, like, let's just say you're in even a reasonably sized clan and you've got like 30 or 40 people that are going into this fight, and your clan decides to give you all of the best items before the 1v1s. Okay, so they give you, full armor, they give you the Ellie that you guys got lucky on, and they give you, the VLS, the ACB, just like the max setup. And if you wear that gear into the final hour, people are going to spot you and hunt you down so quickly, so you can't bring it with you. You basically have to bring like budget rags. So, dragon boots, maybe like Carol's. It's mostly people just in like basic Barrows armor during this time. And then you have to basically sneak through. You change your name to something disgusting that no one can pronounce, like really long, complicated. That's what people do so that you can't get called out during the barrage piles. And then you just hope that you make it. It's like, that's all. Because if you get caught in like a chin or a barrage pile, like it's just over for you. And you could be the best 1v1er in the tournament, but just get taken out by basically, in a sense, RNG.
Yeah. And I think their idea for the final hour before the 1v1s were introduced was always to have you'd have 5 or 6. You have a bunch of these giant groups of clans moving around. They even brought out a heat map, which this was a cool addition to it, where they would show like this giant tablet. Looks like a table, and you would see a heat spot of where people were kind of grouped up. And it allowed you to look at the world map and see, okay, there's like 8 groups of people, and these guys are moving over here, and this group's moving over there. And I think their idea was always to hopefully have like this giant clan fight where like clans would corner other clans, and you'd have one, it would be like, we have one big clan, and you're like, they're going to dominate, but no, we have 3 other clans that are going to circle around them, and they're going to take them out. And that's what they I think they wanted it to be some sort of strategic clan warring going on. But what happened was like every group just kind of avoided each other and waited until a bunch of people were getting knocked out from either people, stragglers they would kill, or they wait for the fog to come in to bring everyone closer.
I mean, you've only got one shot. If you had only one chance in a battle royale game, just like pick any of them, Fortnite, PUBG, whatever. If you only had one chance and you were just trying to get one win and you only get one opportunity, the best strategy you can do is to just hide and let people kill each other, because then you have no risk and you're going to just advance yourself and put yourself in a better position. So the same thing goes for the Deadman mode. Like even the big clans that were fully geared, like the longer they wait to engage with someone else, the better their chances are of getting all their members into the final hour. So why would you even bother going and fighting right off the bat?
Yeah, it's like I watched. I tried getting into Fortnite at one point, and I just kept getting my ass kicked by little kids, and it was rough.
Sounds about right.
Oh,
I mean, it's not fun to hide, but if you're talking about like one shot to get a win, it's the best strategy. Yeah,
because it's like with a last man standing battle royale, your goal isn't to get kills. Your goal is to not get killed. So yeah, the best way to do it is to hide and to wait it out. Which isn't very fun to watch. It might be fun to play, but it's not fun to watch. So anyways, the 1v1s came, and that's what they're doing now. And yeah, so anyways, if you want to go try out Deadman right now, if you're listening to this podcast, kind of as soon as it's out, then you are able to do that. But if it's in 3 weeks or so, unfortunately, it's going to be the servers will be shut down and invitationals will be out, and only the top 2,048 people, I believe it is, will be able to be brought in to the tournament.
Yep, it's probably worth a try if you like PvP.
Yeah, and it's pretty fun.
Like, you definitely have to have a plan, because you get immunity each time you walk into a world. So you want to be doing specific quests that make you go through multi every time that you, get into a new world and have that immunity. So like Monkey Madness, for example, Tourist Trap, Desert Treasure, stuff like this. You need to be using your immunity to get these done, because clans are just like camping the shanty pass. They've got like 30 people there. And they'll just bolt you out, and there's nothing you can do about it.
What you said about having a plan, it's super important, because I always play it when it first comes out, and depending on how long I keep playing it is depending on how much fun I'm having. But usually, if I don't have a plan, I find I'm wandering between places, and that's usually how you get caught and you get killed, because you're like, I'm gonna go do this, I guess, because I think this is the right move. But what makes this Deadman mode different than the rest is, well, a few different reasons. One, they're breaking up levels. They've added combat level brackets. So when you're level 3 to 35, you'll be only able to access specific worlds. And then as soon as you hit level 36, you're unable to access those old worlds, and you can only there's a bracket of 36 to 70, and then there's 71 to 100, and 101 to 126. So you don't have to worry about a level 3 getting killed by a 126. It's only level 35s that you'll have to worry about. There's a 3 life system. So when you die, you lose all the items you have on you, plus 10 items from your bank, the 10 most valuable. Once you die 3 times, all your combat experience is wiped, and you lose the top 28 items, I believe it is, from your bank. And then you start with your 3 lives again. So that means if you're level 126, you die 3 times, you're all the way back down to level 3. That could be pretty rough. But the cool thing is, I found with this one, and I think this one's the most solo friendly so far. You'll always be at a disadvantage playing solo versus with people. I think that's just the way the mode is. But at least with this game mode, and this is what I've been doing, is you can cap your experience to not go past 35 combat. And so I'm at level 35, and now I can kind of wander around and fight other level 35s or fight people lower. And it's really easy to get to 35 combat, because it's like 10 times multiplier to your experience. And it's just fun. It's not super frustrating to die when you're only level 35. It still sucks. But if you have a plan, you kind of can get back to where you were, or it gives you the opportunity to try out different builds. Another cool thing they've added is what they call they've added, I think it's 53 sigils into the game, which you can have 3 of them active at a time, but they basically give you different perks. And they took this from Leagues, I think. This is where I feel like they've really crushed Deadman mode and Leagues together to give you Deadman mode Reborn. But your first starting sigils, there's 3 of them. It's basically, depending on what combat style you want to do, melee, ranged, or mage. With the range, it gives you this bonus where you have a 10% chance of draining 30% of their run energy, and then you kind of give them a damage over time effect, where I think they take 6 damage over the course of 5 seconds. And then there's a mage sigil that allows you to heal when you deal damage. It's a 10% chance of healing what you deal. And then there's the melee sigil, which has a, I think, 10% chance that your next 3 attacks will be done at like a 1.6 speed. You'll attack really fast for like 3 more attacks, which would mean if you had a Elder Maul or something, you could switch to it. If you had an Elder Maul available, you could have your whip out, switch to your Elder Maul. Once that activates, you could boom, 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 do 3 attacks really quickly. So those are just 3 of the sigils that you can start off with, and there's so many more available. There's some really cool ones. There's also some really lame ones, but it's a really cool addition I found. I've been watching some streamers play around with different sigils, and it really causes them to PK differently and fight differently.
Yeah, the Rampage one seems really powerful.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's so far as the meta for tri-birding. So like for every if you attack with different styles, so like mage, range, and then melee, you get like a 5% accuracy and damage bonus, scaling up to what, 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So anyways,
something like
so
that.
if you just keep like swapping between different attack styles, and you can like weave in javelins or throw in axes or whatever, and then you can get like 30% extra on your VLS and hit like 80s, just, out of control. It's it's interesting for sure. The Guardian Angel one seems kind of lame.
Which one's that?
That's the one where it gives you an extra life and you don't lose your key if you die.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it's good for solo players, but it basically means, so like, if clans are PKing, it's good in that solo players won't lose. They can go and do risky things without risking a life, like God Wars, for example. I know Bodhi's doing that right now, but he's got like 5 of them stacked up, and it's like, okay, well, he's obviously not going to lose any lives, which is nice as a solo player. But for clans, they can just like always have things running like that because they always have so much money. But but you're right, this mode is definitely better for solo players. The PJ timer specifically, so imagine you're in a ladder escape situation where a guy is attacking you below. You need 10 seconds until you can escape from someone. So what you can do is go up and down the ladder until you finally can run away and then teleport after the 10 seconds. What used to happen is that if a clan, you just have one person up, one person down, and then wherever you go, you're just going to get tagged, so you're screwed.
Yeah.
But now the way it works is the teleport timer is always quicker than whenever the person can attack you. So you're always going to be able to escape a clan trying to PJ or player jack you from someone else, which is nice. It's a nice addition.
Yeah, it seems cool. There's a whole lot of sigils. Some of them are useless. Some of them are way better than others, but it allows you to, and you can swap them out too. You can get a whole bunch of them. You can even buy them. But it does allow you to kind of go back to the bank, come up with a different strategy of a combination of 3 sigils that you want to use. And I've seen people even like, grabbing the Herblore one and then using lamps just to get free Herblore and then taking it off again right after. So there's some interesting things you can do. It's kind of you're right. It's definitely like Leagues, right? Yeah, and there's way more than I thought there was going to be. There's like 52. I don't even know. I was like, should we read them on the episode? We don't have time for that.
No, we don't.
It's too many. That's information overload.
Yeah, we do not have time.
Yeah. So anyways, it's some really cool stuff. It might be a little bit too late now, but a big pull to it. And I think it's got brought up in one of the Q&As is someone asking, like, can you introduce an official way to swap? Because that's what a lot of people will do. They'll come onto Deadman mode and make money to swap it over to old school RuneScape. Because a lot of people will pay for money. They'll pay. I saw people were buying, your 10K Stronghold of Security. There were on day one, people were buying that for 1 mil. So you can make a quick mill if you wanted to. It's a little sketchy. And I was actually looking up ways. How do you swap? Because there's people in the GE who are like, use this CC to swap. You'll probably get scammed. Whereas maybe you could go. There's definitely like endorsed swapping channels that you can find on like Odablock and other PKing like Deadman mode streamers in their Discord servers. But buyer beware, I should say, if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's good. Like if you want to do something different to make money on your main, then it's kind of cool. I like that. Try to like rush barrows and get a Carol's leather top and sell it for like, I don't know, 50 mil on the main game. Pretty sweet.
Like I saw Alfie got the first dragon claws from Chambers of Xeric, got the first ones in the game. Well, at least what people think.
Yeah.
And he was sold it for 1 bill of old school RuneScape gold, which is incredible. But there's a whole bunch of techniques.
He's surely gonna get more. So
yeah. So it's kind of interesting. We had someone in the CC. I don't think they play anymore, but they used to swap. They used to make a ton of money from swapping, and they had all these cool strategies way back. And one of the tricks is you can try to get into the Invitational, so you have that 1 week to play. And the swap rates on the first day of the Invitationals is so much money because this is where people are gearing up in order to win. To actually win the tournament. So
like if you get an early, like I don't know, you get lucky and get a VLS or something, you just disgusting how much money you could make. But that's cool. Yeah, if that's something you're interested in. It's possible
Oh, yeah.
too. Like if you get your total level high enough, you could certainly make it.
Yeah, I remember that person specifically. It was never too hard to get into invitationals. All you had to do was focus on skilling. Because a lot of people quit after a few weeks.
Melee early and then just make some money and then just buy all the supplies will be so cheap for skilling, especially early because people don't really care. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, so that'll be going on for a few weeks there, and yeah, that's something that I'm excited for. The tournament will be fun to watch, and man, I think we might have to do maybe a look back on some of the other tournaments, just because there's been an issue, I think, in every single tournament. Even the last tournament they did, I think when back in 2020, I think that was the last one, they did like one farewell before they were like, we're gonna scrap this for a bit. And I think the final
technical issues, didn't they?
Oh, I don't remember because I don't know if I was watching it, but I remember hearing. I don't know if this was the right one. Maybe I'm mixing it up. But the final fight was just like two clanmates and one person didn't even fight back.
Yeah, and there was also one, or maybe this was a different tournament where they invited a bunch of content creators and then the internet kept going down.
Oh.
And I remember Matt K saying it was because an intern plugged in something into like an overloaded port and just wiped like blew the fuse. So
oh no.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So like there's going to be something with this one, something controversial. Like I swear to God that the servers were getting DDoS the other day. We were at like all sorts of people in the clan were having issues, and we were doing a Theater of Blood run, and we were at Nilo's, and like our characters couldn't move. But the servers kept running, so like the crabs were still moving, whereas usually when like the servers are lagging, everything freezes and then you keep going, which is a commonplace on 4.16.
Oh boy.
And any of those like, you know, worlds that are overloaded. But it was scary, man. I was like, oh great. DDoS attacks, of course, when dead man mode starts. But oh well. What can you do? Yep.
The clans, they go hard.
Yeah, go hard. That's one way to put it for sure.
Yeah, and of course, before we move on, there's a bug that had to be introduced into the game on day one of DMM mode, and that was that there were sigils activated in the main game. People were killing Zulrah with ranged, and suddenly their sigil would proc, and they'd start doing extra damage, or they were maging and they would heal themselves.
Yeah, wild.
So that's happened. I guess not one of the bad bugs. It's kind of it's one of the better bugs. No one got hurt.
I mean, yeah, there's always going to be something when you're doing this.
Yeah, that's the way she goes. All right, though, that was Dead Man mode in a nutshell. So definitely check it out, and we'll keep you posted going forward. All right, so there's Dead Man mode. All right, next part of the news. God, this is like part of news I was not looking forward talking about.
Yeah, this part sucks for sure.
Yeah, so it came to light that Ian Taylor, JMod, is being charged for assault of a young girl.
Sexual assault, right?
Sexual assault of a young girl under the age of 13. Yeah. Which is, I mean,
it's disgusting. And
that's fucked.
It's brutal. And I think the allegations actually came earlier, but they've been like, confirmed now or whatever.
Yeah, it just kind of came to light. Maybe it just got published. He pled guilty to that.
He just got prosecuted. Yeah. Yeah. It's sad, man, that this kind of shit happens. And,
it's disappointing,
It really is, man.
I feel like stuff like this has popped up with other celebrities, and it's always like a shame. But then it's like, I don't know. It's almost like you'll want to be mad, right? You're just like, fuck, man, really, seriously. Yeah, what a
shitty thing to do. Is obviously it's a crime. Like it's horrible. I don't know, man. It just hurts whenever you hear stories like this.
Yeah, and it's just it
just hits a little bit closer to home because it's someone you maybe knew or have heard about, or in this case have enjoyed his tunes and sort of his impact on the game, which generally have been positive. But then the man goes and does something fucking terrible like this, and it just sucks for everyone, especially for the girl and her family.
Yeah, so, totally.
I guess that brings up the question whether we do or don't use his music in the future.
We were talking about this and talking with people in the Discord, because it's like, it's a tough one, right? You don't want to celebrate the things like what he's created necessarily. But with this person, if you don't know Ian Taylor, he was a composer for old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, and he's made over 700 music tracks. For
and how many tracks are there?
games.
Like, it's got to be over 50% of the tracks he's made.
Well, in old school RuneScape, there's 666. RuneScape 3, more definitely.
So he's made more than 50% of the tracks. So you're at this part where he's so deeply entrenched in the game, like you can't necessarily remove him, but we're certainly never going to give him recognition. That's, we had to talk about it. Do we just avoid any tracks he's done? That's a huge chunk of the music that's, certainly not going to be removed from the game. But it might be just one of those things where, maybe we have to separate the art from the artist in this case. Either way, it's important to know, to talk about these things when they happen, right? You don't want to sweep them under the rug.
And it's like, you don't want to pretend. We talk about news when it does come up with about JMods, and then I guess this is just one of those times where it's like,
as well with this, like, also deeply disappointed in the Reddit once again. Like, I'm always disappointed in the old school RuneScape Reddit, but this is terrible. They just make shitty jokes. It's like, this isn't something we need to be joking about. So it's that was just as sad to see for me. Besides this news. So, anyways,
I don't know.
But another controversy that we could talk about, our man that got a clip yesterday of him losing, how much was it at the arena? 30 bill?
Okay. We can end on a more, I guess, positive note. Well,
more one that we can actually have controversial talks about here.
So anyways, a video had come out of, not a video came out. This guy was streaming, and there's a clip of it.
Glad you got the stream figured out, my dude. Always fun watching you, smiley face.
Thanks so much, buddy, for the 2 months. The Goat Milkman 6. Oh my hell! Oh my hell! Oh my fuck! 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 Oh my fuck! No! Someone can save me quick!
Well, have you ever fixed a nose
Oh my fuck! Help!
No, but I've done several toes.
No! Oh my god!
He accidentally teleported. I guess it's up for debate. He teleported to the duel arena. He claims by accident, where he then got PK'd by a member of the Frontlines clan, and he had 30 bill gold on him.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I'll just set the scene. Duel arena. You teleport there, obviously, to stake. And people just take their cash and their whip. So what happens is sometimes people are having are on like a PvP world, maybe doing stuff in the wilderness, and they forget they're on a PvP world, and they teleport to go staking. And there's basically always someone there, just in case someone is stupid enough to teleport in with their huge cash stack. And in this case, this guy obviously teleports in with 30 bill and nothing but a whip, so he died.
Is someone always there?
Basically, yeah. Basically,
I'm gonna go check right now.
I've gone PKing there before to like go against the people that are like teleblocking and stuff. It's kind of fun,
no
but you're just looking for a free kill, right? Because the person doesn't have anything on. You just get a teleblock on them, and then they're essentially dead. Because they won't have any. They have no items. They just have a tentacle whip and their cash stack. So I've seen it happen legitimately to people, but this one, people are claiming that it's fake. And it was funny because he was on stream, right? Like you could see his reaction, and his wife and his child were behind him too, which I thought was strange. It was weird, man. And he was he looked upset, but then I don't know. It's something about it just feels so fake to me.
Yeah, I just went to the duel arena. There are 3 people here. I just got teleblocked.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. See, I'm telling you, there's always someone there.
Mm-hmm.
But is this something that like a big clan as big as Frontline would actually do? I don't know. Like that's a pretty huge client. It reeks of real world trading to me, and that's what people are talking about.
I think the thing is, if someone wanted to real world, it's a lot of money. That's like
it's 12. It's about 12 grand worth of worth of in-game currency.
Probably more if you sold it 1 mil at a time. But if you were gonna real world trade it, I think this sort of way is a good excuse.
Well, this is the way you want to do it if you're someone who is maybe a streamer and is notorious for having lots of money and staking a ton. Yeah. Like eventually, if you want to get out of the game or just, I don't know, get rid of some of the excess cash you have, then you need to do it and make it look legitimate, right? And that's what this guy's trying to do. Or maybe it was real. I don't know. I just happen to feel like he moves the chair back in and like, I don't know. It's dubious. It's definitely worth watching. If you haven't seen the clip.
We'll tag on the clip here. You can listen to it, but go watching. See him get upset. Maybe make your own judgment there. I actually just went to 2 worlds and they both had people in it. I got teleblocked almost immediately. So there are a lot of people there. And I also hear that there's people outside of the Remington house portal quite often.
Yeah, pro tip for Iron Man here. So Iron Man meta is to make your planks on a PvP world. If you do anything else like plank make, it's like 5 or 6 times slower. So it's basically worth it to do it on a PvP world. However, sometimes you misclick and you teleport outside your house. So before you go ahead and do it with all your money and all your runes on you, make sure you move your house to another location besides Remington. So I moved mine to like the desert, and I multiple times teleported with, a huge chunk of my cash stack in the early game outside my house, and there's no one waiting in the desert, so you're fine.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's smart move. Do your due diligence.
Because you'll accidentally click your portal sometimes while you're waiting for your butler. I don't know. If you're doing it for hours and hours, it can be a mistake. So move your house.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's where we're at for news here. Some wild stuff. That's a lot of money. 30 bill. Why are you still playing I don't even know what I would.
That's so much money, dude.
I mean. I'm not that I would endorse real world trading, but like, are you even having fun when you have 30 bill? I guess if you're just addicted to gambling.
That's so much. That is so much money. Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. I could see why he did it. 12 grand is a lot of money. So
it is.
That's what he did. And that's what he did, but interesting and controversial way to do it. That's for sure.
Oh boy. Yep, that's right.
Because the thing is, right, like the person who's buying that much money, like let's say it was Frontline, they don't want to be, they would be the one who would be on the hook. So let's say they pay the guy and then he just trades it over. Like they're the ones who are going to get banned for it. So it would be
normally it's they try to target the sellers, right? That's kind of like the controversy. Is that
but it doesn't really matter. Like let's say this guy, the 30 bill guy, trades over all his money in real world, trades it all.
Yeah.
And he gets 12 grand from Frontline, and then now they have the money. It's like Jagex banned his account. Okay, it doesn't really matter to him. He just got 12 grand in his pocket. That was his goal, right?
Yeah, that's
if he wants to keep playing and doing it, then it's a little bit sketchier, but I don't know.
Maybe it's because I know the big controversy a bit is that Jagex tends to focus on sellers. Maybe this is for gold farmers, people who are constantly selling gold.
I think that's what it is, because then you can ban them and then the source is gone. But when it's like a 1 or 2 time thing, it's different. So
yeah, okay, that's fair.
Like, how do you feel about real world trading? What's your opinion on it?
I mean, I think it kind of like ruins the game in a sense. Kind of hurts the economy a bunch.
It does. I agree with that.
I understand if somebody has somehow accumulated 30 bill that you might want to sell it for like $12,000 real life cash. Not that I'm endorsing it, but I mean, man, $12,000 cash. I got a kid coming. That would help. I could buy a lot with that.
Like that would make a large impact on your life. So I think there's when real world trading comes, and this I know specifically the JMods have talked about this, and I've heard them in many interviews, especially Mod Matt K. There's a difference between these 2 scenarios. So the first scenario is, let's say I play a lot of RuneScape and I have like a 2 bill bank or something, okay? But I've also just something bad has happened in life where, let's say I'm American and I have a medical bill that I have to pay or something like that.
Yeah.
Or some kind of financial emergency comes, I sell my twisted bow and my scythe, and now I have enough money to cover this in real life. So it's made a significant impact on my life. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Morally, yeah, absolutely no problem. Like that, I have respect for that. Like that's totally fine. There's a difference between that. This is also kind of what Venezuelans do in a way, is where they're like making money to like support their families.
Yeah.
Which, as far as I know, the JMods don't really mind, but it's more like the much sketchier real world trading where there's like scamming at the duel arena,
Right.
huge sums of money being moved that aren't actually affecting people's lives necessarily positively. The people that are making like hundreds of grand a year off real world trading.
Uh-huh.
I think there's a big difference between those two things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's unfortunately, it's like all like this gray area. You have no idea which
It's
one's.
all gray. Yeah, it's all gray.
Yeah. So like I don't, and then I also understand the people who might not have they might have a really good job. They might not have a whole lot of time to play. So maybe they'll spend some money. I mean, you could buy bonds. I would say, yeah, probably buy bonds.
Yeah, buying gold is different. Like, buying gold is completely different. But like selling it when it makes an effect on your life, like I'm just saying that there are cases that you could make where morally, like, yeah, that's an okay thing for you to do because what you're doing in the game is positively affecting your life. And I think as a human being, I would never hold that against anyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you're having hard times in your life right now, and if you sell your twisted bow for like $600, that's gonna make a huge effect on the quality of your life. Then do that. That's totally fine. But it's a little bit different to the people who are like selling, bills and bills and bills through, I don't know, scams or gold farms or whatever.
The people who are like getting into your DMs pretending to be your friend.
Exactly. People who are making like hundreds of grand a year off either scamming people or just, the duel arena in general.
Yeah.
I think there's like a very big divide between the two. But obviously they all sort of fall in the same category of real world trading. I think it's sort of a very nightmare situation for Jagex.
It's got to be rough.
So I don't envy them for having to deal with it. And any game that has an in-game economy like this is going to have problems with real world trading. So.
Yep. Especially when the sketchy stuff is happening, then you have to worry about credit cards being stolen to pay for membership. That's what their issue. They had that problem beforehand. They had to take away the free trade because a bunch of bank companies were basically like, we're no longer going to accept Jagex transactions, or there's something that was going on because a bunch of credit cards are being stolen.
It was to do with credit card fraud was happening, so they had to get rid of it, and that was there was no way around it. It's just what they had to do to survive as a company. They were going to die if they didn't do that. So,
oh boy, one of those things. I don't endorse it, but I understand.
I think I'm sort of on the same bound. I'm just saying that there's, even within something as gray areas for real world trade, there are different levels and sort of different situations that you have to think about. And saying like all real world trading is bad, I think is something it's just worth taking a step back and thinking, is that always the case?
Yeah, it's like this weird thing where like I look at my account and I'm like, man, this account is like, I have like dollars wise, I might have like $1,000 worth of GP on this account. I would never spend that much money to buy all this stuff.
No,
but I also don't want to sell it because I'm so attached to all this stuff.
Yeah, but what happened if in your life, like, you lose your job and now all of a sudden you don't have money to pay rent, and you have no money left, and you decide, okay, I'm going to sell my twisted bow so I can pay rent this month, and now I have a month to find a job, and and now I have some money to get groceries. Like, isn't that, like, how would you feel about that if someone told you that was their story? I'd be like, fucking of course, man. Like, you do what you got to do. But that's different to the people who are, like, scamming bills and bills.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
And making, 120 grand a year off real world trading RuneScape Gold. There's a big difference. Anyways, the point I wanted to make was just, I don't know, you need to think of all the different sort of angles that are going on with something like this. But this guy, I don't know. I mean, it's 30 bills. So this guy is maybe I don't endorse it, but I'm just saying there are situations where it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, this game is whack. When stuff like this is bleeding into your like real life of like moral, like where do you stand on selling a T-bow to feed your, you know what I mean? Then you're like,
to feed
man, I
your
just want to
family.
play this game. Yeah,
but like, where do you stand on Venezuelans who, you know, grind the game all day and so that they can, you know, make money to feed their families?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that as a human being?
Yeah,
you know,
for me, it's like
first, sometimes you got to separate yourself from the game. There's a lot. There's so many layers to this game, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I'm glad we could get into them a little bit here. But anyways, this guy. Yeah, I think he sold it.
He's $12,000 richer right now.
I think he is. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's got a baby, so I don't blame him. But
yeah, you know. True. And maybe he's got more stream content as
his wife didn't look too worried either. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching her because I was more curious. While her husband is freaking out, maybe she expected this to happen.
Yeah, but then again, if I had my girlfriend watching me play RuneScape, she'd probably be like, have the same. No, she probably would be like, "This is so fucking boring. What the hell are you doing?"
That's funny. I love my girlfriend so much. She tries to like, you know, be interested when things are happening.
Have you tried to get her to play the game?
No, nor would I. But she does like ask me questions like, oh, you know, like what have you been up to in it, or you know, how's the bingo going? You know, or, tell me about your friends. Like, what have they been up to? She like asks about them and stuff, like the people that I've told her about. Nice. So she's just her being kind and you know, loving me, I think is what it is.
Getting a glimpse of this other world that's going on. It's so cool.
When I got the Ellie, she was on the phone with her mom. And I was just in the other room, like losing my mind, like screaming and like jumping around and like I remember I went out to get a glass of water, maybe like 15 minutes after it had happened. My hand was like still shaking. She came out to check on me, and she's like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's okay."
I was like trying to think, like I don't know if I've ever gotten anything that would probably feel that good. And maybe it's like an Iron Man specific thing. Maybe it's not. Getting a T-bow would probably be exciting. Getting a pet. I had a few, you know, heart drop moments. But I was trying to think, like, is there anything in life that gives you that same feeling, like, outside of this video game? And isn't that like...
I don't know, man. Like, this is what I was thinking about, too. It was like shock, excitement... like all these things. It's like maybe winning the lottery. I don't know. That's probably what I would because that's basically what happened in a sense of like chance anyways.
Yeah.
And it was different to the blowpipe because the blowpipe was like, I knew I would get it eventually. It was more like this feeling of relief and like excitement. But the Ellie, I like wasn't expecting to get. I was just going for a blessed spirit shield. So it was more like, it was like shock as well mixed in there. So yeah, I don't really think so. It was a very unique experience. Highly suggest it.
Yeah, most of the times in life when you feel that adrenaline rush, it's usually like not a good feeling. Like
adrenaline is supposed to keep you alive, right? Like it's like heightens your senses or something.
Yeah, like there's a few times where we were driving and I'm like falling asleep, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I'm falling asleep, and you wake up, you get that ping of adrenaline, and you're like shaking because you're like, holy fuck, I was dozing off there for a second.
Yeah, and there you're like, no, your adrenaline kicks in to be like, nah, you're gonna, you know, you need to stay awake and like your senses become all heightened so you don't die, basically.
Yeah, or almost a car accident happens, you know, same feeling of like huge rush, and you're like, but it doesn't feel good. You don't walk away.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Yeah, I've been in like one car accident where I was like turning left and this person ran a red light and I was turning left through a red light because I was sitting in the intersection, and then it hit my back end. Everyone was fine. No one got hurt. It was my fault in the end. I learned.
Insurance told you.
Yeah, and the cops told me actually. They were like, "Yeah, it's your fault." And I was like, "But she ran the red light." And they're like, "Yeah, but like why would you drive into her because she's running a red light? You should be paying attention." I was like, "True." He's like, "You sit in that. What do you think? You're gonna sit in that intersection and all the other cars are just gonna smash into you from the other side?" Like, no, they're gonna wait for you to go.
I mean, surely, if you run a red light, whatever happens is your fault. I don't quite picture this situation.
You're sitting at a red light, you're sitting at it's a green light, and you're turning left, so you're in the intersection, and you're waiting for there to be a spot for you to turn left, but there's no spot, and the lights turn yellow, and then it turns red, and you're still in the middle of the intersection, and then you typically go.
Yeah.
turn
Oh,
left.
I see. Yeah.
So I turned left because they did that thing where they slam on the brakes, and then they realize that they're going to go into the intersection anyway, so then they gas it, they gun it.
Oh, and they hit you. Okay, they T-bone
Yeah, and they
you or
hit
no?
me.
Or in the they like caught you on the tail as you went
hit my
through?
tail and I spun out.
Okay, I see.
So what I should have done was I should have sat there and waited for every car to stop completely, even if that meant sitting in the intersection for 5 seconds.
I think I agree with the cops now, because I've been in those situations like a few times where you just have to. It doesn't matter. People won't go if you're in the middle of the intersection on the red. You know what I mean? Like, you just gotta wait to make sure it's safe, because people just fly through yellows. Me including some. I don't fly through them, but I should take less yellows than I do. I sometimes say we take those and go through the yellows, but we shouldn't be doing those.
They're always sketch.
I don't know. It's a weird feeling when you're either going to like slightly speed up or like actually actively slam on the brakes. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, and you know what they teach you is like you don't want to hesitate. You want to commit. So sometimes you commit and you're like, here we go.
Commit to what? Yeah. This sounds like whoever hit you didn't commit.
No, it was like an old lady.
Yeah,
that was rough. But everything was cool. She was okay.
That's good.
She was like, it was an accident. Everyone makes mistakes. You get any bad accidents before we move on to our break?
No. I think I've been pretty safe. For the most part. Sports injuries, but no car accidents.
Nice. That's good.
Yep.
There's one time actually where there's a car that I was at a party. It was going to be a party, and I pulled out and I hit this car that was parked at the side of the road.
Oh.
And then I pulled a little hit and run, and I went. I was living at my grandma's at the time, so I went. She told me to bring your car here. Maybe they won't notice the little dent in the side. She told me not to say anything, so I didn't. Because she was like, "If you say something, you could owe them."
This is Yellow Pages' grandma, right?
Yeah, Yellow Pages' grandma.
I love Yellow Pages' grandma. She has the best advice.
She was ruthless. Oh yeah, she told me to just like.
No kidding, she's vicious.
Yeah, and then
she's looking after her boy, though. I have to say.
Yeah, and then they brought me back to the party.
Yeah.
And then the people saw their car dinged, and they were trying to figure out what happened. They came to the house. We were all like, "Wasn't us. We don't even have any cars in the driveway." They called the cops, and then they surrounded my buddy.
Yeah,
it was a bunch of us, and we all like smoked weed at the time. And so when cops came, everyone freaked out, and they surrounded my buddy who was hosting the party. And then he was basically like, Dilz did hit the car. And then he told it, and he came back, and someone else was like, Dilz, you gotta run, man. Just jump the fence in the backyard and just run as far as you can. So I ran like really far, and then I got a call on my cell phone from my other friend, and he was like, dude, just come back. They're just gonna wait here till you come back. Like, just turn yourself in, get booked. They were fine. Everything was fine in the end. I didn't.
Grandma couldn't get you out of it, hey?
Oh, well, I think she kind of did, because I never got charged or anything. I just had to get, and there was a huge ordeal. Oh my God.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I mean, it's just a little bump in the car. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think the whole problem was driving my car away, hiding in a garage, and then running away from the cops and then hiding.
Yeah, you probably don't want to run away from the cops. It implies that you're guilty. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the closest I've ever been to an accident, I used to ride motorbikes for
nice. That's
years.
Cool.
So when I was 16, because in Canada, the way it works is when you're 16, you can get your license to drive, but you can't drive by yourself until you're 17. But when you have a motorbike, you can drive by yourself after 2 weeks, obviously, because someone can't be on the back. So when I was 16, instead of buying a car, I bought a motorbike.
Wow, nice.
Which was a good move. My parents are huge bike riders too, which obviously helped. There's no way that a normal 16-year-old boy would be allowed to get a motorbike. So they'd been teaching me. I'd been riding dirt bikes and stuff, so I was pretty good. And they made me take like a road safety course, which was really helpful. Because the danger on motorbikes usually isn't yourself, it's like other people not seeing you. Because if you get into an accident, even a small one, like there's a good chance you just die or come out with a huge injury.
Oh yeah.
So you got to have your wits about you, and you drive a lot differently, like a lot more defensive, looking way further ahead. But anyways, I was coming home I used to work at a golf course, and I was on my way home in the summer, and there was a storm brewing. You know how you just feel one coming just around the corner? And it was about a 25-minute drive for me. And I was riding home, and I got onto the highway, which was about halfway through, and the wind was so strong. I was like leaning my bike into the wind just so I could go straight. Like it was out of control. So I was like, fuck this. I can't be on the road. Like, cause as soon as the trees came, I like swerved because I'd been leaning into the wind. So I was like, nah, this is too scary. There weren't too many cars on the road. I went onto this back road and I was just going to take this slow road home.
Oh yeah.
And I remember going through this intersection down this hill, and I heard this huge crack, and I just looked behind me as this enormous, like well over, 100-foot tree cracks, maybe like 4 feet, 5 feet wide, cracks down, splits a power line, and slides right across the middle of the road. Just a huge ass tree, and the wind was just going crazy, and I was going so slow trying to get home. And I kept going, and there was these 2 trucks parked right across the road, and I was like, what the hell is going? Like, I can't, come on, let me through. I gotta get home. I was so close. There was another tree equally as large, like halfway up the truck in its sort of diameter, sitting across the road. Trees were just falling left and right. It's crazy. So anyways, I ended up getting home, but it was very scary.
That's sketch. That's like that's a Hollowed Sepulchre motorbike edition. Jesus.
That's basically what it was. And the night that I did see my mom drive out in her car, like I saw her car flying by like twice the speed down one of the roads to try and find me. But yeah, she ended up coming home and seeing me when I was there. But that was scary, man.
Oh boy.
Definitely didn't like that situation. It would have been terrible in a car too, but on a motorbike, I was just like even more aware of everything that was going on. So anyways, I stopped riding bikes when I was in like halfway through college, probably. So like 20.
Why?
Maybe 22. Just because it was with my girlfriend now, and I couldn't ride by myself. And I lived a little bit further away, so I needed to get groceries and stuff like that. So I ended up just selling it and getting a car. So I rode for about 6 or 7 years, and I haven't done so for about 4 years now. But I definitely like to get back into it. It's really fun. But when it's your main form of transport, it can be a little bit awkward sometimes.
True. Yeah.
I remember going on a few first dates on the motorbike. It definitely helped with vibes. But I couldn't exactly just pick someone up and like go for I don't know, casual dinner with them. It was the whole thing. Like you have to bring all your gear and your helmet. So
you got a little sidecar for them to sit in?
No sidecar, just on the back.
Motorbiking looks cool, but I don't think I would ever get into it.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't have there's also like different segments when you get into the biking world. There's like dirt biking, there's like Harley people, there's like sports bike people. I just had like like a mid 90s standard, like a 650. It was really nice, very smooth bike.
Sick.
Just like if a little kid was to draw what a bike looks like, that's what mine was. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'll send you a picture of it sometime.
Sick. Yeah.
But anyways, now, Jesus, we're way off topic today. How deep into this pod are we? Almost 2 hours.
Oh boy, and we got.
Dilz. What's
do you have time for emails?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's finish it up.
All right, I got some emails, but let's take a break. We'll come right back. And actually, Mr. Magpies, you remember Magpies? Yeah, he was on the show. Episodes ago, but he's taking a break from the game, and he gave me a little clip to kind of give everyone a little update of what he's been up to and all that jazz. So we'll play that after we get back. Anyway,
sounds good.
All right, we're taking a break to head on over to the Grand Exchange. Guys, I was at the Grand Exchange the other day. I was a little bit bored on my account. I know this episode's been going long enough already, and I'm about to go on a little bit of a tangent. Quick one. But I figured I wanted to get. We talk about like money stuff. Usually it's supporting the show, but sometimes in-game Grand Exchange stuff. And basically what I wanted to say was I was filling out my God books the other day just because I don't know why not. And I have to fill out my Gothics and my Zamorak God pages, and so I figured I'd do that. And I did not realize how cheap the Zamorak pages were. They've always been kind of the more expensive one. Kind of one of the more expensive ones. They were back in the day, and this is where I start, feeling kind of old. Back in my day, they were like 1.2 mil, like 2 mil for a page. And then eventually they dropped down to like 300 or 500K, but they were always the staple for pures because they give you a bunch of accuracy bonus on all your offensive stats. So it was always good for pures. So it always made it kind of expensive, right? And people always wanted it because you only buy it once and you have it on an unlimited amount of times. Anyway, my point is they're 50K for a set of pages now. 50K. The Sarah books are 20K. Gothics 16K. Book of War 10K. Book of Law 48K. Book of Darkness 100K. Holy crap, those are so cheap. And I know the argument is that people are like, well, you only buy them once, you never need it again. But still, I guess it kind of shows you that, like, I guess the players who are coming into the game who are going to want these books, it's really slowing down. I guess it's bound to happen. So anyways, I was really shocked to see that the other day. And I'm still shocked now to look at, the Book of Law and the Book of Darkness, your range and your mage variants of books. Those are, those are still used a fair bit, right? I don't know. I'm surprised. Book of Darkness, I guess it makes sense that it's the most expensive one, but God, still. Anyway, so we can move on from that. So, if you guys want to support the show, keep the lights on here at the Wilderness Podcast headquarters, help fund some of the events we do, and just all that fun stuff. You can do that in a couple of different ways. Patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast, where you can sign up for like a monthly pledge, and you get some rewards for different tiers. If you sign up for the $3, $5, $10 tier, you get like an extra, not an extra episode, but it's the audio from a Jagex Q&A, but it has a little bit of a Dilz commentary over top of it, which you might like, you might hate it. If you do, sorry about that, but you'll get that as well. And then any bonus episodes, I know it's been a little bit dry recently on the OSRS rambles, but when those do happen, you'll get early access to that as well. So the Wilderness Podcast at the Wilderness Podcast, patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast is where you can do that. Of course, part of the rewards is getting a shout out. So I want to welcome Wild Rhyhorn, J Blaz, Monodam, and Vesperiant to the Patreon crew. Thank you guys so much for signing up. And this episode is dedicated to Mr. Karma 501, recently inducted into the raid, the elite raiders in the clan. So congrats there. And of course, our top tier supporters: Gentinu, Splimo, Dreadful Monkeys, Szechuan, Mallard, Twisted Soul, Hoyt, Monodam, J Blaz, and super duper shout out to Strosity. God, those have got to be drying up. I gotta check my schedule. There is no schedule, but I probably should have had one. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for the support, and thanks to everyone else who supports as well, and everyone who has supported in the past. You guys are the best. But hey, if you don't want to go to Patreon, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz. I got one right here. It's a iced coffee. I don't know what it is. There's a Tim Hortons down by my road that I usually go to, and they must have hired a bunch of new people. And it is so slow. I'll go into the drive-thru. I used to work at Tim Hortons, and you get stuck with a 12. They have like a quota of 12 seconds to get cars through the drive-thru. It's a crazy quota that they kind of have to hit. Like that it's insane, but it's there. I think it's mainly matters for weekday mornings, rush hour. But anyways, whatever. But yeah, they must have hired a bunch of new people, and it is so slow. I'll go in to literally, not even kidding. I'll go in to go get a coffee. I'll go into the drive-thru. Normally you're there for like 5 minutes tops. But we'll be there for like 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes. And it's not even like there's a huge lineup. There'll be like 4 cars in front of us. And me and my girlfriend went in earlier today to get some coffees. Just this coffee here. And we were sitting there, we're like, what's taking so long? And we looked, and there was like 5 teenagers who are working, 5 people on break all at the same time, sitting out there like chatting, like smoking cigarettes and stuff. And then you go into the drive-thru and you see there's only like 2 people working the counter. Everyone just went on break at the same time, and I was like, oh my god. I can't even really be mad, because when I was in high school and I was working at like a grocery store, I worked at Timmy's for a bit. You kind of always you didn't care. You're like, listen, my shift's done in an hour. Why don't we all go on break on the same time? That'd be so much fun. Otherwise you just sit and just sit on your phone for 15 minutes. It kind of sucks. Anyways, I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. But they have signs up through the drive-thru that says, like, don't stop yelling at our employees. They're new and we're training them. Oh my God. I feel bad. Yeah, you shouldn't yell at them, but it's just like, oh, it's crazy. Like 20 minutes sometimes for like one coffee. So, hey, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz where you forcibly put me into one of those lineups. But hey, I do appreciate it. So I have to thank Caradoc, 2JZ, 2JZ, Soup, The Six, and Forced Murder. Guys, shout out to The Six. I saw you in the thieving host friends chat the other day. I don't know if you were a pickpocket. I didn't see you. It was like the other day, and if you were pickpocket, you would have known. I was getting crashed. Every world was getting crashed by this one person who was like this maxed account. He would just show up to a place where the one of the arty knights are getting like stuck, and he would just kill them. I don't know. I guess it's easy to kill them. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. But he went to every single world. People were losing their goddamn minds, and it prevented me. I would have had 90 thieving last night, but instead I had 3 hours to thieve, which was supposed to get me like 300k experience at least. I ended up only getting 200k because I had to stop midway because every world was getting crashed. It was hectic. Anyways, I saw The Six chilling there, so that was kind of cool. Guys, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. Let's get back to the episode. And we got a message from beloved co-host from the past, Mr. Magpies. Anyways, back to the episode. We're back from the break, but we still have that Magpie clip to play. So yeah, as you guys know, he or you may not know, but he was a co-hosted the show. There was we had a marathon of episodes in 2020, and Heartless, that's when you jumped on, and we had a few trio episodes, which were kind of a first for the show.
Around Christmas time, right?
Yeah.
I remember us sitting down to do like 5 recordings in 5 days. It was nice.
Yeah.
Catching up, because that was when you came back from your huge break, right?
Yeah, I came back, and then I got sick in August, and then I started playing a little bit, and then I quit again, and then I wasn't really playing it, and then I don't know, I have no idea what happened, but something sucked me in, and I've been addicted ever since.
Good. That means the podcast is back.
Yeah. What, I don't know what it is that pulled me in. Anyways, no updates are coming out, but yeah. So anyways, Magpie stepped back a little bit just because he was feeling a little bit burnt out about the game, and he had some real life stuff going on, and he wanted to offer some clarity of his disappearance. And so I got to sit down with Deegan and do something similar, because same thing happened with him. I think one day he just wasn't on an episode.
That happened with me after 2 years on Trinity Force, or like almost 3 years. I just disappeared without saying a word. No finale, or is that just 'cause you got burnt out of the game? I was so burnt on the game, and the only thing that kept me in the game was the podcast.
Yeah, true.
I started to feel like it was a job, a chore, when I was really just at the beginning I loved it. Kind of like right now, I love doing this one. But when it became a chore, it was the only thing that kept me in the game. And, a few of my friends on the podcast, I didn't want to let people down. Right. And one day I'd had enough, and I just didn't return. I didn't say a single word.
There's like a saying, 'cause I went to school for like audio broadcasting and radio stuff, and they had a saying in radio where when you're at a job, when it's time to leave, to quit and find a new job. And if you don't quit and find a new job, they're going to fire you because they're going to know it's time for you to leave. And I think the same thing with
and
podcasts.
People can tell too. Listeners can tell when you're not enjoying the game anymore, or when you're not enjoying whatever it is you're doing, because you just don't have the same passion in your voice. It's very clear.
Yeah, it happened like when me and Deegan sat down for Song of the Elves. That's what it was. We sat down to record.
It's very clear with Deegan.
Yeah, we were doing the recording, and we were going through the Song of the Elves, and I was like, "What are your thoughts?" And he was like, "I don't really have any thoughts on it." And I was like, I had to pause the recording, and I was like, "You don't care at all?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't really care." And I was like, "Do you want to keep doing the podcast? You want to step back?" And then he was like, "Yeah, maybe I should step back." It was a big update. So you can kind of tell when someone's just feeling burnt from it.
And I was getting that feeling from our friend Magpies as well. Sometimes the best thing in a game like this, it's such a marathon. You just need to take a step back, take a water break, and then come back when you feel like it, because it's not going anywhere, and your account progress is still there. Your friends are still there. So sometimes that's just. I mean, you left for what, like over a year,
Yeah, I actually thought I wasn't even sure if I was going to be coming back, and then fuck, well, here we are.
and you did, and you're still having fun, right? So
Oh yeah, nobody truly quits forever, so we all come back at some point.
yeah, hopefully I've quit League forever. Did I tell you I reinstalled?
No, did you?
I reinstalled, play 3 games uninstalled, so we're good now. I had my yearly fix.
I play Wild Rift on my phone whenever I get the itch for it.
Is any good?
Yeah, it's quicker too. The matches are like 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
There's more fast paced, so I can kind of scratch that itch without having to download and play a 45-minute game.
Yep.
To figure out whether or not I'm going to enjoy it. All right, we're going to be back. Magpie is going to jump in, and then we'll come back with some emails.
Hey guys, how's it going? I know it has been a long time, but I hope everybody who listens to the podcast is doing well. I asked Dilz if I could just record a quick segment that he could play whenever he wanted, maybe at the top of the episode, maybe at the end. Just kind of explain where I've been, why I've been gone, and why I've been basically taking a break and essentially going AWOL. So as you guys know probably, I have not been on the pod for a few episodes. And the reason is twofold, actually. Number one, life just kind of caught up with me, to be honest. I tried to keep this a little bit private, but I got pretty sick a few months ago. I caught COVID after I received my first vaccine dose. And the symptoms were pretty mild, but they kind of were at a really bad moment because they were right when my final exams were. So I got extreme fatigue and basically was out of the count or out for the count for a few weeks. But then the real reason my health kind of caught up with me is because I was one of the few people who got myocarditis, I think, from the Moderna vaccine. So I was having some heart issues, going to the hospital a few times a month just to get, heart monitors put on me, ultrasounds, EKGs, and basically at the worst of it, every 10, 15 minutes or so, I'd get an episode where I'd feel like my heart was just going haywire. And the first time they didn't catch it on the EKG. The second time, I told them, I know there's something wrong with me. It's not anxiety. It's not, placebo or anything. Like there's something definitely wrong with me. It's getting worse. And midway through my second EKG scan, they caught it. And so I'm way better now. It's gone away, fortunately. And, I don't want to turn this political. I'm very much pro-vaccine, but, I just was an unlucky statistic, I guess. I guess I've always been told by my mom that I'm 1 in a million. So maybe this is, karma proving that right, maybe in the worst way. But fortunately, it wasn't anything worse than that. So that basically, it didn't, stunt my ability to hop on the podcast. But that plus working an extremely tough summer job, taking a few classes, and I worked one full-time and one part-time job. So life just kind of got in the way, I guess. But the heart thing put things in perspective a little bit. I just realized, I want to go out and I want to live life a little bit more. And it leads me to my second point, which is that even if I did live my life, it's easy for me to say, oh, I can live my life and then hop on for an hour or two, even though recording obviously takes way more than that. The real thing is, if I want to hop on a podcast about RuneScape, I better be prepared to talk about RuneScape, which I obviously wasn't. If I'm living my life, I'm not playing the game as much. And the second point is that I wouldn't say I fell out of love with the game. More so, I kind of told myself to fall out of love with the game. I noticed that it was taking up too much of my time. I've always said, it should be just a side hobby. A lot of people treat it like a full-time job, and a lot of members of the community do, unfortunately. And it's not, supposed to be taken as seriously as that. And so I felt a lot of the times I was hopping on and just not enjoying myself. So I stopped hopping on. And then I would get the urge to come back and play, but it wasn't because, I was kind of looking forward to hopping on and playing with anyone or etc. but it was more so out of guilt. I felt guilty to the people in the Wild CC. I felt guilty to you guys on the podcast because I felt like if I didn't play, I didn't have anything to talk about on the podcast. And so I just, tried to hop online and keep playing just so I could have content to talk about and so I could keep involved. But somewhere along the line with the heart thing, I realized that's not really the healthy mindset to have when playing a game like RuneScape. I wasn't playing it for the right reasons. I wasn't logging on for the right reasons. And the one thing I will say is I definitely didn't want to be as inactive as I have been. I still, would be, reading through the messages on Discord. I'm keeping up with the events. I'm keeping up with the Skill of the Week challenges that you guys have been putting on and participating in. So even though I don't, type much, the real reason why is because I hate typing on mobile and I don't use Discord on my PC too much anymore. But, if there's a discussion normally in the mod chat, there's a discussion that needs my 2 cents or anything, I normally hop in, but that's the long and short of it, really. I've already been rambling for way too long. This is already, 5 straight minutes of me just explaining why I've been taking a break. So I think I'll wrap it up here. And I just want to say, sorry I haven't been on. I wanted to do this way earlier. I wanted to come back way earlier, but, my life is still very, very hectic. And for now, I'm just kind of still, putting in a lot of hard work, putting in a lot of hours. And when I do have some free time, I've been going out more, seeing friends more, working out a lot, and, trying to get healthy with my heart thing. So I would say I'm about 95%. I still get a couple of little episodes when I'm really stressed, but fortunately nothing crazy. And the ultrasound that I just did was really, really reassuring. So I don't, I'm not asking for your sympathy or anything. I'm not trying to say that I've been so sick that I couldn't hop on. That's not the case, but I just really had things put in perspective for me and realized I can't, in good faith hop on the episodes and, not have anything to talk about. But I've still been keeping up. I've kept up with the raids announcement. I've kept up with all the updates. So I know RuneScape will be there. Hopefully you guys will be there. Hopefully you guys will welcome me back with open arms. If not, though, I totally understand. But I hope everybody's doing well. Like I've always said, my DMs are always open. I might not be online in game too much more, but, always feel free to send me a DM on Discord. Please don't send me any sympathy DMs. I'm not, looking for any, empathy messages or anything. I just want to hear how you guys are doing. Tell me something fun you've been doing in game and something fun you've been doing in real life. My DMs are always open. I'm happy to kind of talk to anyone from the Wilderness Podcast. So much love. And you guys are definitely in good hands. And maybe you'll see me maybe sooner rather than later. We'll see. Take it easy.
All right, we're back. Hopefully Magpies offered some clarity there. And I'm sure when he's ready to come back, we'll welcome his return.
Oh, yeah. We'll see him again one day.
Oh, yes. But we got some emails. We got a lot of emails because unfortunately things have been busy on my end and RuneScape's end, and we just haven't had a chance to record it. This episode's been going long, and normally I'm like, oh man, maybe we should hold off the emails till the next episode, but screw it.
We always say let's record for an hour this time, and it's always minimum 2 hours.
And then we're talking about car accidents and driving motorcycles.
Yeah, we just start chatting about stuff.
That's the way she goes. Anyways, we got emails though. First one is from Mr. Busco Beep, and he says, "Hey guys, congrats on the baby, by the way. I'm sure you can teach a future 1-month-old to 3-tick, right? Oh, that is going to be their punishment. Actually, I should have said this earlier. We found the gender out this week.
Nice.
Earlier. It's going to be a little baby boy. So
nice.
I will pass down the Lil Dilz account to them one day.
Lil Dilz.
Yeah, the pure, and be like, if you train defense on this account,
you're done.
You're banished. Yeah, you're done. So anyways, he says, currently I'm just stuck in that mid game where I can't confidently kill major bosses, so I'm questing right now, as well as trying to knock out some diaries. Also, sometimes I just think of OSRS-based questions and just like to hear people's answers. I'm sure listeners enjoy listening to you guys just banter just as much as the news. At least that's how I am. If you guys think these future questions are good conversation starters or time fillers, feel free to discuss. You don't even need to mention me. Oh, we already have. Wow. I should have vetted this email earlier. I really just enjoy listening to the podcast. The longer, the better, right? Oh boy, and we are committing to that one. 1, would you take 3 bills straight off of Tutorial Island or start with 5.99s of your choosing off of Tutorial Island? Which one would you do? 3 bill cash or 5.99s?
Like I'm forced to pick one of these two.
Yeah, you gotta pick one of them.
And
you're on your iron too.
And I'm a main account. Let's just say I'm a main account.
I guess if you want, or you could be have unlimited cash as an iron.
Oh, that's kind of useless. Well, like yes, no.
You could buy runes.
Okay, let's make it like because I do have an alt, which was my original main. If I had to pick between the two, I'd take the 3 Billy for sure.
Real world trade it right away.
Yeah, and I have real world trade it, and then I would get myself $1,500, and then no, I'm just kidding. I'd take the 3 bill though. I just buy whatever I want, but then the game would become really boring very quickly. So. Maybe 99s would be better.
See, that's a tricky one. I feel like,
the real answer is you would take neither because it's going to ruin the game for you.
Yeah, I agree. I think both would ruin the game. Like
maybe
the 3
you just
bill.
Get like 99 herbal. It just gets a bunch of shitty skills out the way, like mining, herbal, or rune crafting. What else is bad? Agility. Just put it into those 5. I think that's probably the play, and then just make the game enjoyable for you because a lot of mains just hate those skills. So maybe get rune crafting, construction, herblore, mining, and just the expensive ones, and then you just start your game with all these skills basically finished.
Yeah.
That's probably the play. The 3 bill is definitely it's not the move.
It's tricky. I think it depends on who it is. It would be like if you were let's say you really wanted to just like boss or something, you could just get your 599s out of the way, get your combats up, and go straight to bossing, or you could do like some of your boring skills. But that's something I've noticed. I've learned a lot is that this game is all about the journey, not quite the destination. And even when I lost like 60 mil worth of items, I had a few people reach out and they're like, "Hey man, I can lend you I can give you 20 mil if you want to help rebuild it." And I was like, no, like I don't. One, I didn't need it because I could sell things and be able to. I had useless things that I bought that were worth a fair bit of money, but also I was like, no, like I don't want that money because it's not gonna feel as fun grinding it all back. Like it takes away a bit of the fun, even if you lost it.
I agree. Yeah, the handout, the money, the main game is like all about getting money, like in some essence, but through different means, like when you're playing the normal mode. So I think just being gifted all the money would suck. Eventually, it'd be fun at first, but it would get boring quickly.
I remember when I was I would just start playing. This is actually oh man, I bought gold once I remember when I was younger. I had like a credit card and I stopped playing RuneScape but I came back because I wanted to play it and I had my account. This was like I can't remember what account it was. Maybe it was my main. It was some other account I had, and it was like kind of fairly high level, I guess. But I had like no money because I gave everything away. So then I was like, I want to do something. So then I think I had a job, but I wasn't paying rent or paying any bills. But I had a job. So then I had a credit card. So I think I bought some gold. Like I think I bought like 20 mil. And then I had the gold on my account. I was like, sweet, now I can buy stuff. But I spent the whole night just buying like infinity robes, being like, okay, this looks cool. I'll walk around for a bit. Sold them. I'm going to buy like, I don't know, not a Santa hat, but I'm going to buy like, I kept buying things and selling it because I thought it would be fun to have it. And it just was never fun. And then eventually I think I just like quit, gave it all away or something. I can't remember what I did with it, but I thought it would be fun to have a bunch of money, being able to spend it. And I'm like, this is how I'm going to get back into the game. And it kind of made it not fun right off the get-go.
Yeah. So I think if you took the 99s and put them in terrible skills that you wouldn't enjoy training in the first place, then you're still going to have a decent experience.
Yeah. I think that might be the way to do it.
If you're being forced. Of course, I'd rather take neither.
Neither.
Part of this game is also like enjoying all the skills. Like I used to hate all of the skills, but now I find I enjoy most of them except for mining.
Yeah, there's a lot that a lot of skills I dislike as well, but I like to know that they're there for me to train when I need to. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's like some sense of accomplishment in it as well.
Yeah, even though it's like
if someone just gave you a max account, it's like or like close to max, and you finish it off, it's like not really your account.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So like at the end of the day, it's like to make yourself satisfied by playing the game, not other people or anything. So that's an interesting question.
It is. But it comes up with a second question here. It says, if you could change it right now, would you make it so that you can't ever hit a 0 in combat, but the max hit would be less? So you're basically hitting more consistent, which is kind of funny. That's what one of the new raid weapons is planned to do. And this is a fairly old email. Busco Beep, I'm so sorry it took us so long to get to it. This is going back before the summer summit, actually. Wow, it's been that long. Jesus Christ, we're slow at these. But if you could change it,
absolutely, it'd be so broken.
Yeah, it'd be pretty broken. But what's kind of cool is having one item that kind of does that instead.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different. So Busco Beep is asking, you never hit 0s, but the way the new item works, as far as I know, is you either hit a 0, but then if you do roll to like hit the monster, you then roll between whatever 0 and your max hit, so you can still hit a 0. So the new one will either be it's going to hit 0s or it's going to hit like 9s. I'm pretty sure, or whatever
something like that.
Whatever your low hit is. But Busco Beep is just saying like you're never going to hit 0s anymore. Yes, of course, I would take that. You ever sat at a boss where you're just slapping 0s over and over again?
Oh my God,
please,
it's the worst.
Finish, like Corrupted Gauntlet, like finish it, please. Like it's got like 5 health left for like, and you swap between the weapons 3 times. Yay.
Oh boy.
What else is another boss that's the last 2% is the hardest to kill? There's a few of them.
Callisto, it feels like it. That's
Callisto.
I bring like the magic longbow just so I can like use the special attack. At the end. Yeah,
that's a gamer move right there. I do the same thing.
It like never really works that way, but hopefully, the plan.
Yeah, it does. You hit minimum 4s, right, with the spec. So
something like that. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's an interesting. I think yes, absolutely, I would take that. It would depend on what you have to shave off your max hit, but it's going to be definitely worth it, especially against things that are high defense.
Yeah, the consistency.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, some of those are just brutal. So Busco Beep, thank you so much for that email. Next we have Myzix, and he says recently got back into old school RuneScape with an influence of a good friend and this podcast. Oh, sucked. It's always like I always feel like we have to apologize when it's like, oh, because of the podcast, I'm addicted to this game, and it's like, oh man, I'm so sorry. He says, from Western Canada and a very small World of Warcraft content creator. I have a question in regards to PVMing or bossing, and that is, what would be a good way or resource into getting into it? I've had my account for a while, but never got membership, and I never know what to do past Barrows. Should I quest? Should I just get my skills up because it's a completely different game compared to WoW? Yeah, he says thank you for reading the email. So basically, how to get into bossing, which is always
I would say the most natural way to get into bossing is through Slayer, because they give you options at certain levels to kill specific bosses. So for example, when you get to level 75 Slayer, you're able to kill the Grotesque Guardians, which may not be the most fun boss, but it's going to get you into it. At some point, you'll be able to get into the Dagonoth Kings, maybe solo some Rex. There's a bunch of Black Dragons. You could try KBD. What else is there for boss? I'm trying to look through the list of bossing.
Yeah, I think another thing too is like, just don't worry or don't listen to people who are going to be like, it's not good money. Like if you just
that's
not
what it's about. It's about the experience, right? So if you want to just go, you get a Dagonoth task and you're like, reasonable stats. Maybe you try watching a video on someone soloing Rex, and that could be your first introduction to bossing. Like, don't listen to people that are like, no, you got to do the sweatiest methods. No, that's not true. You could get a rune crossbow and maybe go and kill some KBD. The thing about the Slayer helm is it kind of boosts up your lower stats and helps you out get past that threshold. So maybe you're a little bit under geared or under leveled. The Slayer helm can really help push you a little bit. So that's the most natural way to do it. Then, of course, there's other things like going with friends to Bandos or joining the CC, asking if someone wants to take you to Bandos, or maybe another boss like Sarachnis would be a good place to start as well. You could just go pick up like a Sarachnis cudgel and maybe just try to kill that guy a little bit. I'm trying to think what else is good. Yeah, Slayer will just generally progress your account in general. Like there's sort of natural milestones you reach. Like 91 Slayer is Cerberus, 93 is Thermi. You don't really need too much to get into those two. Yeah, it's slow to level, but I'm just saying like that's the most natural solo way to progress through your account.
Yeah, that's something. It's like, oh, if you want to just kill some stuff, go do some Slayer. Eventually get to a spot where you're able to do boss alternatives for not almost every task, but a lot of tasks you'll have boss alternatives for. And then good resources. I mean, one, like just reaching out to either whatever clan chat or Discord servers you're in. If you're in one for a clan, like if you're in this one and for the podcast, going to be some great people there that will love to go bossing as well, as long as timing kind of works out. But I would imagine most clan chats are like that. And then
every boss has a YouTube video.
Yeah,
for it.
YouTube's great for guides. And then the wiki's great for gear setups, I find. I mean, they're not always the most optimal, but like for a new account, it'll always give you a nice progression. And like, if you don't have this helmet, use this helmet. If you don't have that helmet, this helmet. It gives you like 4 or 5 tiers, depending on how much gold you have. There's almost always an option that you'll be able to afford.
Yeah, I like that they showed you the sort of different progressions. YouTube videos are good because there's actual visual representation of what's happening and maybe minimum gear. I know like Asuki Yen makes quite good basic entry level videos, and he's going to give you all the information you basically need about the monster and kind of what stats you need to try it. I would just say look on YouTube and put solo whatever the boss is, and just try to look up the stats you need. One place I would avoid is the gear Discord.
Oh yeah,
which some people often will recommend if they're sort of higher level. Gear Discord is for the sweatiest, most expensive, most richest players in the game.
Yep. It's basically if you have unlimited money, or like even for me, like I don't have all those items, so it can be tricky sometimes. Yeah.
Unlimited money, or you know enough about the game where you can tell what item is a good substitute. So I'd avoid the gear Discord, but YouTube is just going to get you there in the wiki kind of combined. You learn to use the wiki if you're a new player because it's incredible. So much information on there. I spent hours and tens of hours, scouring the wiki for stuff,
It's
like
got so
learning
much good
about
stuff,
items,
yeah.
learning about quests, learning about bosses, how the game works in general. It's just really cool. It's worth
gotta be one of the
diving
best
into.
wikis for any game in general.
Has to be, yeah.
Yeah, so
Blanket statement. It has to be.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that email. A lot of places to get started there. Just dive in, go try some giant mole, go try some KBD. And it's okay if you're not going to make a whole lot of money.
Yep.
All right. Now we got an email from Zyrus. He's was RuneFest, 2019 RuneFest news correspondent. He was the boots on the ground for one of the RuneFests, and he had a whole mic set up, and it was actually kind of cool. I was like streaming the live streams, bouncing between the different, because Jaggers would have like 3 or 4 different live streams going on for the different stages. So I was doing like kind of bouncing between them. And then Zyrus was at RuneFest, and he had this like, anyways, I was singing this like call on Google, and he would just dial in and he would hop on and be like, I got Mod Ash here. I'm going to interview him real quickly. It was so much fun. Felt like an actual like news organization or whatever for RuneFest. That was a lot of fun. So anyways, he writes in to say, caught up with the podcast again. I was saving a couple months of episodes because I've just moved to the other end of the country, and I knew I'd have a lot of driving to do on my own, especially when RuneFest kicks back in. I want to say massive congrats to Dilz. Fatherhood isn't always easy, but it's very rewarding when you get to see your kids growing and learning, especially when you notice the things they copy from you. There's just a couple pieces of advice I'd give you. Do as much as you can for the baby and your girlfriend in the first couple of weeks. You're going to have a lot more energy than your girlfriend, and she'll definitely remember those first weeks for years to come, giving you almost infinity brownie points. I think she's in the other room right now, so hopefully she can hear me reading this out loud. Score a little brownie points today. And then number 2, babies can explode at a moment. Poop, puke, and snot will be regular occurrences for a while. Just get used to it. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. I used to work at this like children's indoor like playground when I was in college. And I feel like that really introduced me to how like disgusting kids are. Do you deal with that in school?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah,
I've got some horror stories that you probably don't want to hear.
Maybe
we'll save those for another time.
Yeah, I remember. Kids. I'd always call it the banshee scream, where the kids will just scream. I don't know why. They'll just scream unprovoked at the top of their lungs, and it seems like they do it for fun. I don't know, but it'll destroy your ears. And there's just, I don't know how, like, they'll just like poop on slides and pee on the floor. I don't understand what is going on. And boy, that was a interesting job.
Yeah, they just, when they're young, especially, they don't always have control of their body, which is not helpful. For sure.
And they don't care. they don't feel bad.
They don't really care. They haven't been taught properly. There's a bunch of reasons why it could happen, for sure.
They'll shit down a slide. Kids will slide down that slide and get all gross, and nobody cares. They'll just they love it. They're like, the slide, we're going so much faster on the slide. It's
one of the craziest things about kids is they never seem cold, like, ever.
Really?
Like, I'm always freezing. They're never cold, man.
Huh,
they're just out there in fucking shorts and a t-shirt, just in the rain, don't care. Like, what? I'm actually freezing in here with so many layers on.
Yeah, that's
it's
funny.
getting old.
Oh,
I remember when I was a
boy.
kid, I was never cold. I just didn't care. You're just having fun. At recess is recess. You'd go out there and no matter the weather.
Yeah, I remember my socks were always wet because snow would get down the boots.
Always wet.
And I never really cared.
Always.
But now that drives me insane. I can't.
You know, when you would come inside, okay, so those of you who aren't from Canada, is like, it snows here. And in the winter, you'd be soaked, and you'd come inside the school and everyone's taking off their snow gear, and it's just soaking wet in the hallways. Everything is wet. Your lockers are drenched. Your clothes are drenched. And you just come back into class in the afternoon, like, warm because you were running around outside in the heat or in the snow with all your layers on.
Yeah, and you don't care. Oh, boy.
Poor janitors, hey, at those schools. Just mud just tracked in as well. It's
Yeah,
madness.
they've got a rough. Oh, boy. Yeah, and they have a tough time. They don't get the recognition they deserve.
No, they don't, for sure.
So, Zyrus, thank you so much for that advice there. But he says, also, I have a question for you. If you were to train one skill from level 1 to 99 before you can continue with any other skill, which you could choose? Keep up the awesome work of the podcast. Can we listen to the next episode when it actually comes out instead of months later, even though this one was like 2 weeks later? But yeah, so what if you could train? There's an account that does it, like one skill at a time.
One skill at a time. Yep.
So
are you talking about, like, to be efficient, or just if you, like, have to do one skill?
I guess if you come off Tutorial Island, they were like, you have one skill that you can unlock now.
I did it. I did fire making.
True.
Is quick, so
I have to agree with you. That would probably be my first skill.
Thieving would be a good one too. Pretty chill, make a lot of money.
Oh, not fun though. I hate thieving. I'm still at 88 or 89 actually.
Yeah, I don't.
Nice.
You like fire making?
Wintertown's not bad. It's all right.
You're right. It's okay. Thieving it gets quite tedious.
I'm not a huge fan of thieving. Wintertown could be fun.
You certainly wouldn't want to do like mining or anything that's super slow.
Rune crafting. Yeah, that'd be brutal.
Yeah, it'd have to be one of the gathering skills. I would say.
Or maybe range.
Wood cutting would be a decent one.
Yeah, that one could be okay. Just take a while. I'm gonna have to go with either fire making or fishing because of Wintertodd now. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Wintertodd, although solo Wintertodd's fun. That's what I learned over the week. And maybe range, so I could save spot a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I think those got to be the options. If you want to be efficient, agility is the first one. Got to get that run energy.
100%.
Oh boy, thank you so much for that one. Matacos 1 is back. That's what the title says here. He says, "I'm back, and let me know if I bug you with my endless pit of questions. But I guess I'm just curious, guy. It was a fun podcast team to ask questions too. Yeah, keep them coming. Apologies that it sometimes takes a couple weeks to get out, but I always love getting to the emails. My question this time is, if old school RuneScape went first person, a la Skyrim, on consoles, which minigame would you be most excited for? Mine would be Mage Training Arena. Oh my god, a masochist himself. Which minigame, if old school RuneScape went first person, which minigame would you be most excited for? Barrows is technically a minigame.
Castle Wars, maybe?
Let me pull up the minigame tag here.
Blast Furnace.
Oh, snap. Castle Wars would be good. Dagonoth Kings is technically a mini game.
That's actually ridiculous.
So Dagonoth King, God Wars. Okay, these are just it's just this grouping.
Barbarian Assault maybe would be pretty fun. Imagine seeing the Queen come out of the centerpiece.
True. Let's see. Trouble Brewing could be interesting. Volcanic Mine.
point of view of just standing there for 20 minutes, trouble brewing.
Yeah. Last man standing could be decent. You got bots though. I think if it was actually good, if they would rework it to make it actually good for first person, I think fishing trawler could be pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
That's tricky. Something that fishing trawler I think would be the one that would be the most fun, as long as it wasn't just kept the way it is now. Fun fact though, Skyrim does have a RuneScape mod. At least it did at some point. And same, was it Neverwinter Nights? Is that what the game was called?
Yeah, that's an old game. That's an old game.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in high school I played it. And elementary school is really old.
Apparently there's a whole bunch of mods for it, and there's a RuneScape mod.
I can believe that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and like Baldur's Gate was similar as well.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's all like the same engine.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. They did a survey way back where they asked a bunch of different questions about different styles of RuneScape games, and it made me think that they have in the works. Maybe they didn't, because they just came out with a new Diablo-esque kind of game that's like sci-fi, which we should talk about for next episode. I'm gonna write that down. I always thought they were gonna come out with like a console game of like set in the RuneScape universe. We'll have to wait and see. Maticos, thank you so much for the email there. Okay, and here we go. The finale of the marathon. Busco Beep, he's back. And he says, I was wondering what type of boss mechanics that you hope to see in this upcoming raid. Something where you can't be on a certain tile during points of the raid. Debuffs if caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think there are many more boss mechanics that Jagex can introduce in the coming years. We are also getting the Missouri equipment with this raid. Is there something that you would like to see instead, or in the coming future? New best in slot ring, gloves with best in slot prayer, or some other weapon or armor to fill a gap somewhere along the line. Or maybe a mechanic that we have never seen in the game yet, like low life. Just started up a new job and working remote for most of it, so I've been hitting up Nightmare Zone for past few days, allegedly. Oh, the work from home life is good. I have allegedly been training a lot of rune crafting. But yeah, I guess the quick discussion on Raids 3. What kind of mechanics do you think we're going to see? Anything that you...
Well, I assume there's going to be a lot of mage stuff involved, because usually the best in slots are, and range as well. I don't think it's going to be as melee focused, just because usually that's not necessarily true, because there are also melee weapons. Usually whatever the content drops the items, those items are good for the content. Nightmare, Chambers, what's Theater of Blood? Just like, all the sort of main drops that you get from places are usually quite good there.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine this new mage tome, which is probably going to be the best thing, the most expensive, or the mega rare, is going to be really, really good at this place. I like the fact they're doing like a dual boss, like where you have to fight two things at the same time.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. And I've always liked mechanics where not everyone's just sitting there doing the same thing. Everyone has their own role, so teamwork is involved.
Yeah, I like that. I always like that too, and I'm surprised we don't see it as much. I guess we, some Theater of Blood rooms we see it,
but I guarantee you this raid is going to be soloable. Well, they've already mentioned it will be.
Oh yeah,
because that was one of the big gripes about Theater of Blood is you can solo it, but I mean realistically, no one farms it by soloing it.
Right? Yeah.
It's just too difficult, and it's too time consuming, and it's too skill intensive versus something like Chambers, which is actually soloable. So I think that's another big part to it too. I'd like to see that the raid is actively completable by yourself, but maybe rewards bigger teams.
It's like the reason why I'm enjoying Fasani's Nightmare while I was because I can just get in and do it whenever I want. I don't have to wait for a team. Sometimes you're like waiting for a raid, everyone to get together, and it's like people take their time, and it's like you have an hour to play, and then that hour is down to like 40 minutes before you even end the raid. It's great, especially Theater of Blood. Like, and then you can wipe too. Like, if you're not all on your game, there's a lot to it. Like, my KC is only 300. It would be way higher if I could solo that boss and farm it, because I really want a rapier and a scythe.
but it's just not possible. So anyways, as far as mechanics go, I don't know. I'm not the most creative person when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I do like these new interesting weapons that they're coming out with, like specifically good for certain styles of bosses.
Yeah, I'm happy with their whole proposal of it. It all seems like to be on a good track, and I think it's just giving a glimpse of them trying to think outside of the box. One sort of mechanics I always kind of wish we would see, or I hope we will see at some point. It's kind of like what you mentioned, where we all have like a different role within the fight. But I remember there was like a WoW fight where in World of Warcraft, where there was, I forget which one it was. Maybe it was Destiny, or not Destiny. Maybe it was Destiny 2. Maybe it was what's the other game? Guild Wars 2. Anywho, there was a boss, and you had a couple people who had to fight the boss, but then something would happen, and there'd be two like other bosses that would spawn somewhere else in that room, and you would need to divide up. You'd need two people still attacking the main boss, but then your group would need to divide up and go fight the other boss. And you had to do some sort of thing, and then someone had to go push a switch after the boss died. So like there was like this chain reaction of things that had to happen, where like these groups kind of, you had to like plan your groups. Like, okay, Heartless, you'll be on group 1, Dilz, you'll be on group 2, so-and-so, you'll be tanking the boss. In group 2, we need you to push the lever once the boss is dead. Heartless, you're going to push the lever for there, and then we're all going to run back. You know what I mean? Like everyone has like, it becomes this like much more a long form strategy at play. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of have more steps like that, where this happens. Like in Destiny, there was this boss, you would fight the boss, two or three people get teleported to another realm, similar like Sodaseg in Theater of Blood. But then when you're going, you had one person in that room who had to kill monsters, one person had to tag these orbs, and then you all had to leave at the same time, but you all had to do it in a like quick enough. And I always liked how they're like a group got separated and had to kind of work on their own. That's kind of tough, but I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like that concept.
Yeah, so I hope we see stuff like that. And then debuffs, I think would be kind of cool. I think we don't really see that many debuffs in this game at all. So I think there's a good space to experiment more with those. And then I guess in the form of like new mechanics coming to like armor. I like low life, and I think we can start seeing more of that sort of stuff. Like I was thinking sometimes I just like to think about ideas for this game, and I had the thought of like it would be cool to have like, we don't have too many special attacks or weapons that like buff you. Like there's a few of them, like kind of like the Dragon Battle Axe that buffs your strength. There's the Staff of the Dead that gives you like resistance to more damage. But I thought it'd be cool to like have some sort of, you know, like say you had I was thinking of a crossbow, and the special attack allowed you to shoot rapidly, like 4 or 5 shots, or like for like 5-10 seconds with that weapon, and then it would go on cooldown or something like that. And I know that's tough to balance, but I don't think we have a whole lot of specials that buff you.
Yeah, I don't think so. Besides like the Dragon Hunter crossbows and stuff that like actually buff against specific monsters. Yeah,
exactly. But it'd be I think we have room for like special attacks. You know, you swap to this weapon, use it to buff your next 3 attacks, and then you switch to whatever it is.
I do think niche weapons is the way forward. So instead of going like generally powerful weapons like the Garazi Rapier, you know, doing something like, I mean, the Scythe in a way is a pure power creep, but it also is niche in a way. Like the minion has to be large. Just so happens that most bosses are large, so maybe a little bit a more tuned version of something like that.
Yeah, really I agree. There, it has to be. Yeah, no, I totally agree. These niche, not just straight power, straight buffs.
Congratulations on pronouncing niche correctly.
You know what? I think I used to do it. And I think I have to blame Magpies. He's not here, so maybe I can blame him. But he would say niche, and I think it got me. If I ever said niche, I think it's because I heard someone else say it, and I was like, "Oh, I was wrong," and no one's called me out yet. But I always thought it was niche.
So you just blame Magpies for all of your failings when it comes to pronouncing things, because he's not here to take it.
He coached me.
Yeah.
Anyways, Busco Beep, thank you again for the email. I truly appreciate it. And guys, so sorry it took us so long to get to it. It's been a little bit of a weird month, but
enjoy the large podcast that we just delivered.
Oh, yes. Should be fun. It'll be fun to get this bad boy out. That's for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys want to email us, TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. We have our clan in-game Wild, or Wild TC is the friends chat. If you want to join it and be part of our skill of the week or upcoming bingo events, anything like that, that's a good spot to do it. We also have a Discord. You can find that in the show notes here. And we have a Twitter at TheWildernessRS if you're into Twitter. I'm not really into Twitter, but it's there. It's there. And the Discord's pinned there too if you're into that. And I stream sometimes, twitch.tv/TheDilz. You can go there and watch me try to get better at this game. Heartless, anything you want to say before we sneak on out of here?
Nope. Come join the Discord.
Come join the Discord. All right. Well, of course, we still have to do our song of the week, but got to give some love to Mr. Ashley Bridges, Mod Ash himself, who has started composing some of the tracks, and a lot of them are pretty damn good. He did Coil. We're gonna do Coil. I was gonna do another one. Then I started talking about Coil. I was gonna start talking about how good Coil is, and I was like, let's pivot on spot. Coil is an awesome track, and it's the song that unlocked at Zalra. It is it is such a good song. I used to listen to this just on YouTube.
You've played it so many times. It's so good.
Okay,
this
yeah, we're
and
playing
Inferno are easily top 2 for me.
There's a lot of good ones. Yeah, there's a lot of good tracks. So yeah, awesome guys. And here we go. Big going throwback to those long episodes. Whoop, whoop. I guess we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.